What's up, and welcome back to the Run the North podcast. I don't know what's happening. Jake's not here. It's just me and Miller. I'm
Jake
sorry,
is in
I
Georgia.
guess. Miller, how are you doing?
I'm great because I'm not in Georgia.
True.
And also, you know what? No, I won't put salt in the wound.
Yeah, I
Because
feel
I'm
like the
the
Bears
only-
fan this week.
I'm the only member of this podcast who caught a dub this week. I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah, well, it's okay. I think that the Vikings are guaranteed to blow out the Rams, so I think it's okay. You remember that weird thing that's been happening where the Vikings have played really well every time I've been really bad at darts? Well, last week there was no darts, so
Yeah.
it didn't matter either way.
You should have played by yourself and just
Apparently.
fucked up.
But I played like shit tonight, like absolutely atrocious, worst darts I've ever played. So Vikings by 50 on Monday is all I know. That's all I know. And if not, I might off myself live on this podcast.
Okay, I'm really dumb. Who is 15? Is that a Dobbs jersey?
Yeah,
Okay,
because it was like $30.
that's okay. That tracks. I wanted to make sure because I was like JJ McCarthy.
Oh, now it's
doesn't wear
Dallas Turner.
15.
So,
That's right. He did switch to 15.
well, no, he didn't
Okay,
switch.
forgot
That's
about
what he got drafted as.
You know what I mean? That's who
Yeah.
they gave 15 to.
Yeah,
I worded it.
Yeah,
poorly.
no, it's all great. It's all good. But I am doing awful. Darts was awful. Thursdays suck.
No.
I would like the
Okay.
season to be over so I can get good at darts again. This hurts my soul. But like,
Or
if
the
this
Vikings
actually
could just
works and
lose.
or if this actually works and wins the Vikings a Super Bowl, I guess I no longer care. I don't know how many times I have to say this. I loved the I keep seeing arguments on Twitter because people are still arguing Sam Darnold and JJ McCarthy. I'm sorry. I feel like that Lions game told me all I needed to know about what we're going to do. I don't care again
Yeah.
anymore. Also, when it cut to the sideline and we saw JJ with long hair, he just looks like Anakin, dude. We're getting villain arc JJ McCarthy, and I'm hyped for it.
So what I'm hearing is he's gonna start off really strong, and then he's gonna crumble and fall and end up on the Lions after Jared Goff.
No. Never
I mean,
the
that's
Lions.
the equivalent of turning to the dock side. Yeah, the dark side.
Not to me, it's not.
Well, then what would be Denver? Is he gonna go replace Bo Nix?
Go to New Orleans. That's the dark side, man.
Replace fucking Spencer Rattler?
I think he'd be replacing Derek Carr.
No.
So I know we're supposed to talk about the entire week's worth of games. I don't know if I care enough about any of them.
Yeah,
there
a
are
lot of
a
them-
couple important ones to talk about, but I would rather break down the playoff games, I think. That's just me. What are your thoughts?
I think the more important thing to talk about in this moment is the coaching situation. The
True.
multiple ones.
True.
But I
That
do
is
agree.
fair.
A lot of the games this week, here, let's
I think-
let's run through the games that don't.
Personally, I think I see 4 games I want to talk about, maybe.
Here's what we'll do. Just real quick,
Yeah.
to get out of the way. The games that don't have big implications.
Yep.
One sentence from each of us to describe each team that played.
Deal.
Okay?
Yeah.
So Browns Ravens. The Ravens are good and the defense is starting to turn it up. Browns is the Browns is the Browns is the Browns.
So the Browns are hopeless is going to be my sentence for them. The Ravens, I'm going to go a little bit more into. I think the Ravens, as bad as their defense has been, looking at the advanced stuff, the Ravens have played a ton of playoff teams and have been incredible in those games.
Yeah.
I think the Ravens should be, you can't make them the favorite to come out of the AFC because the Chiefs exist, but
Right.
the actual favorite to dethrone them should be the Ravens. That's it.
Yeah. No, the Ravens, especially the last couple of weeks, like we both mentioned their defense.
Yeah.
It's turned it around.
Yep.
It's figuring it out. It's got its footing. Is it the same Ravens defense that we saw under Mike McDonald? No. But weirdly enough, moving Marlon Humphrey to the slot has completely changed the way this defense works. And it is really, really paying dividends. It is, I agree 100% in terms of them being like the chosen team to dethrone Kansas City. As much as I want it to be Buffalo, just because of this weird like Buffalo bias that I've had all year, apparently, because I'm the only one on this podcast that trusts them. I would love to see it be them, but unfortunately, I think Baltimore is pretty comfortably a better team all around right now.
Also, McDermott is gonna McDermott. I rewatched so on TikTok, I rewatched the I can't remember what year it was, but the Mahomes Allen game where it went to overtime and everything.
Yeah.
McDermott lost them that game by being a pussy.
Why now? I don't remember
He
specifically
did
what
the
changed the
thing
course.
that defensive coaches do. If he goes
Oh,
for
he got
two and
conservative?
forces the Chiefs to score a touchdown instead of a field goal, maybe the Chiefs do it, but probably not. The reason they won was because they got into field goal range with 2 seconds left. Now,
Yeah.
yeah, you can try the 40-yard Hail Mary. I would much rather, like, as a coach, have to contend with a 40-yard Hail Mary than a 47-yard field goal. Like,
Yeah.
the 47-yard field goal is a gimme for most kickers, especially as much as I hate the dude, Butker. He's not missing that. He's just not.
Yeah.
Whereas you can play defense and stop them from scoring a touchdown on a Hail Mary. You can, unless you're Tyreek Stephen. I'm sorry. I also rewatched that game. Not the entire game, but that because people have been doing their top 10 plays of the year. The Kelseys did theirs. They did not rank that very high because
But
it
they
was
ranked
mostly
it.
luck. Well, because they got it was like a blind ranking. They saw 10 plays and ranked them.
Oh, okay.
So,
Okay. Thank God. I thought Jason and Travis were like, yeah, let's call out this play in particular.
their
No, but that
logic
makes
was a little goofy.
which was
So, because it took a lot of luck, but they also ranked the Chiefs' blocked field goal really high. And it's like, I feel like that also requires some dumb luck, but it does help that Leo Chanel called out, I'm going to block this.
yeah.
And I mean, when you break down the film, you saw the route at which that could be taken to block that kick against the Broncos
Right.
because Forsyth is
And not only
bad.
that, it's almost like one of the Kelsey brothers have an affinity for the Chiefs that is going to naturally make him rank things that have to do with them succeeding higher.
Yeah. Weirdly, Jason's the one who so they had ranked something at 5, and Trav was like, "I'm good with either 4 or 6, wherever you want to put it," and Jason put it at 4.
Well, I'm sure that's Trav trying to be humble, and
Yeah,
then Jason being like, yeah.
but
Because I think,
I respect that he's trying to be humble.
yeah, but I mean, he would kind of be a dick if he wasn't.
So
If he was
most
like, yeah, this is the
NFL
best play of
players,
the year. I
come
mean,
on,
fair.
that's like how this works. So
Fair. But also
give him his
Travis
win.
is under like a lot of natural scrutiny.
Yeah.
Just because he is who
True.
he is.
True.
So he doesn't really have like the leeway that like say Micah Parsons did
Yeah.
that, you
Yeah.
know. But speaking of the Chiefs, the next game, the Bengals and Steelers. How do you feel about the weird dialogue about this game?
There's
Have
weird
you
dialogue.
seen any of it?
No. What is?
Oh my God. The Bengals swear, and this is like their players, specifically, I think Cam Taylor-Britt was the big one.
Shocker.
Their players think the Chiefs sat their starters because they were afraid to play the Bengals in the playoffs. That is a real
That's
thing.
insane because there's no world where they don't match up until like the AFC Championship game. I
Right.
promise the Chiefs aren't thinking
But
about
they're
you.
fully convinced they were making it there.
I just hate that games. I think there should be a rule. You cannot sit your starters for an entire game when the game has actual implications. To me, I don't think you should be able to just truly forfeit a game when there are implications.
Yeah, but if there are implications that don't matter to you, what's it matter?
Because you just granted a division rival the playoffs. That should disband you. You should be kicked out of the league.
Do you think the Chiefs care either way?
I don't care. I think imagine the Bears just gave up, just quit, and gave the Packers a playoff spot when they could have knocked it out. You'd call
Well, I
for the
think
heads
that's
of
a little-
everybody. No, it's the same thing. It's Chiefs Broncos. They just handed a division rival the playoffs.
Well,
Just handed it
again,
to 'em.
listen, here in the grand scheme of things, I don't care. I
No,
don't think
fair.
it matters.
I
think in a
I just
vacuum,
don't like
this one
people
is a
sitting. I don't
little.
care.
It's a little less fun because you are letting a division rival in.
Yeah.
But like, in the grand scheme of things, imagine they send their starters out and Mahomes gets hurt in a meaningless game.
That's also
Imagine
fair.
Travis Kelce gets hurt in a
Yep.
meaningless game.
I
Like,
understand both views.
yeah.
I hate it.
Also, how do you feel about this whole like entitled thing that the Bengals are putting on that they deserve to be in the playoffs and all that?
If you deserved to be in the playoffs, you would have won more games.
Yeah, real.
Um,
This is
I
coming
don't.
from a guy who. Well, I just wanted to say this. I agree 100%. This is coming from a guy who just made a video about how good Trey Hendrickson is.
Yeah.
So I'm not biased. That's a slight plug, but I also
No,
want to say I'm not biased against the Bengals. I like the Bengals.
yeah.
Their defense is just dog ass, and that's why
Yeah.
they're not in the playoffs.
And like again, I agree. I would much rather watch Burrow and Allen than Nix and Allen because I'm
Yeah.
pretty positive that game's not going well for Denver.
Well, apparently, coach can't remember the name of, uh,
Denver or
not
Bills?
McDermott, the good one, the good one, the good coach that you don't like.
Oh, Sean Payton.
Broncos, Sean Payton. Jesus, I wanted. See, I knew
When
the
you said
Sean.
the
I couldn't
good
get
one,
the
I had to
Payton.
get confused because
My brain is broken today. Good Lord, listen. In my defense, I just finished Cyberpunk 2077 and the ending fucked me up. So my brain's not
valid.
all there right now. Um incredible game, by the way. If you haven't played it, you should. Geek, you haven't played it, have you?
Nope.
Play it. I got you to play Red Dead. How do you feel about Red Dead?
It's been all right.
Okay.
I'm
play
not. I'm not
Cyberpunk
like
at some
in
point.
love with it. Like I'm not like saying it's all right. As in like I don't know if I'll finish it. But like I don't think it's gonna end up on my like top 5 games of all time list.
But you also
But
went
I'm
into it
enjoying
knowing
it.
what happens. So
That's
it's
true.
not.
So like I know
That's like the
I'm
big change
progressing
with
through it, knowing what's happening. So it's like
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it.
But
But
no, the whole reason I bring that up is because apparently Sean Payton has like he's I saw this on Twitter. He was like 32-10 against bald coaches in his career or some shit. So Sean McDermott is cooked, I'm afraid.
yeah, but you see, Bo
What
Nix.
we need to know, what we need to know is what is his record against coaches with you know what, I'm not gonna
All
make
right.
the joke. I'm not gonna make
So
the joke.
we are gonna be all over the place today. Welcome to
Yeah.
Miller and Geek time.
Yeah.
The ADHD really wins for me. But continuing to talk about the Broncos. Well, you know what? We'll get into this when we talk about that game in a bit. I will
Yeah.
save it. Let's do singular sentence about other games. No, I want to
Also,
talk
we
about
didn't
that
say
game.
anything about the Steelers.
Oh,
So I just want to say their best football is behind them.
I don't know. It sucks that they have to play the Ravens.
Because they're going to get beat.
Yeah.
I think it's great that they have to play the Ravens.
I think they really wanted the 5 seed.
I'm
Because
sure
I think they
did.
would have beat Houston.
I'm sure they would have. That
As
doesn't seem like a
unfortunate as
tall
that
ask.
is, because I would love to have my preseason prediction be correct, but
What,
I'm
Houston to the Super Bowl?
Houston and LA, but I'm rooting for them both to lose in the wild card game.
I was going to say Houston's offensive line.
Yeah, I wasn't
has other
expecting Minnesota to
plans.
be here, so
Right.
now I'm obviously picking my team over my stupid prediction.
This guy. I don't even know what my prediction was. It was probably fucking Chiefs Eagles, honestly.
Honestly, I know it was Chiefs.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was Eagles or if you just went full basic and went Lions. Because
No,
you
I
totally
definitely
could
didn't say
have.
Lions. It was either Eagles or Niners.
Oh, could have been the Niners.
Probably Niners. I probably had a match or a rematch, which could have happened if injuries didn't suck.
Sure. Guarantee Mahomes the 3-peat.
No.
Purdy
this
ain't
time
winning
it's
in a Super Bowl,
personal.
man. Purdy
This
ain't
time
beating
it's
one of the
personal.
aliens, man. He's just not. Let's skip this and come back because I do want to talk about Panthers Falcons a bit.
Okay.
So Texans Titans. Cam Ward, you are a Titan.
I was gonna say Cam Ward, prepare for Nashville.
Yeah. Or Drew Aller still could come out, and I would rather have
Well, they
Aller.
just got beat and he threw like the game sealing interception.
Yeah,
So
that's
I
not
think
great,
that's kind
but
of
I think he's going back to school. So Cam
I
Ward,
was
you
gonna
are a Titan.
say, if I was a betting man, I'd say that's one of those things where you're like, all right, let's run it back one more time.
And Houston, we have a problem.
We've had problems,
Yeah.
man.
Dude, I don't actually think CJ Stroud. Like, I know everybody's saying CJ Stroud has sucked, but I think that's the same idiot crowd that's like, Caleb Williams sucks. It's like, no, CJ is just at a
He
major
has
disadvantage because the O line sucks, and his weapons, nobody's left, man. He's got Nico.
yeah,
He got Nico.
Stroud has the fire has been dampened, but it's still there. They just need to get rid of some of the war criminals that are holding him back.
Yeah, including possibly Slowick, because
I was gonna say, I think if they lose first round, Bobby Slowick is going back to PFF.
probably, yeah.
Hold on, let me propose a trade for the Houston Texans. PFF receives Bobby Slowick. The Houston Texans receive Jackson Powers.
W. Oh, I'm still waiting on a DM from him. Ooh.
For what?
Talking about Seattle.
Hmm,
Yeah, me and him are conversing.
I see.
Because
I
moves.
talked to him the other day.
Eagles, Giants, Eagles. Tanner McKee is a real backup quarterback. I don't think he's a real starter option, but that is the guy you move forward with. Send Kenny Pickett home, or tell him to throw the ball and roll down the hill because he'll be on his way.
Yeah.
For
What the fuck is an EJ Jenkins?
What?
EJ Jenkins had a touchdown. I don't know who this person is.
Oh, I don't either.
First time he's ever been on an active roster. Good for him, man.
For the Giants, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Because they kept their GM. I understand keeping Dable. I think Dable's a really good coach. But the GM that has murdered your team is never going to leave.
Here's the thing with that, though. If you keep Dable, you have to keep the GM. They
don't
are
always agree.
soul bonded.
But now
in this situation where Dable hasn't really separated himself, I think.
See, but here's the thing: you're set up. This to me is different than the Colts because you're setting these two up to pick the next quarterback. You have now basically committed to them for 3 years, or you've committed to fucking over a rookie.
No, I would have fired them both.
I think that is probably what should have happened.
Yeah. No, if I was the Giants, they're both out of the door.
And then Dable, I think Dable would get another shot somewhere. I do. I think he is good.
Dable would be in Vegas, I fear.
No, Vegas is getting Belichick, apparently. Or, actually, Vegas is getting Ben Johnson.
No, they're not. What prospect do they have to get Ben Johnson?
The open GM job.
Okay, what quarterback is he going to work with? Because they don't have one.
The one that they draft. Or Sam Darnold. I stand by. I think Sam Darnold is a Raider. I really do.
Listen, this whole GM thing, I'm sorry. I'm not letting that distract from the fact that the Raiders have one of the worst rosters in football.
I don't think the Raiders roster overall is that bad. They just don't have a QB.
They don't have I mean, that's kind of the big thing they need.
Right.
Like that's kind of the big thing.
Hey, man, I thought Ben Johnson's the one who made Jared Goff finally a good quarterback. So,
he is, but do you really think if he has a choice between going to a real young quarterback? I'm not even saying Chicago. New England's in the mix. Where else is he interviewing? Jacksonville's in the mix. Those are real quarterbacks.
You cannot say he wouldn't want to go to Vegas because of the roster and then bring up Jacksonville, which has 3 NFL players on the entire roster.
One of them's a quarterback.
Cool.
That's what matters above all else.
Except you won't win with the team that's in Jacksonville for 4 years. You're not winning.
You won't win year one, but he's going to make Trevor Lawrence look like a fucking MVP candidate next year if he goes there. I'll guarantee you.
And they're going to win 3 games. And with Balky still being there, I'm not going there. No.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying, I think the Jaguars are a way better place to go than the fucking Raiders.
I don't.
You don't have a quarterback. You're not in position to get a quarterback.
You have a ton of money and you have like the 8th overall pick, move up.
That implies someone's going to want to move down, and there's not a lot of good quarterbacks in this
The
class.
Browns exist right there, and we know they're not taking a quarterback. They're
Do we?
at the 2nd pick. Yes,
Why wouldn't they? They don't have one on the roster.
they do. Groper
They have one they're
Cleveland is still
paying.
there.
Right, but
They
that
can't
doesn't mean
get
they're
rid of
committed
him.
to him. Okay, you can draft a quarterback to sit behind him for a year or two.
Don't pretend
And then-
Cleveland's smart enough to do that. They'll think they can compete. If they're sitting in that spot, they're taking Hunter. Done.
Okay, so then you have the Giants at 3.
Right, that's what I'm saying. You jump up over the Giants and go to...
I don't think they move down from 2. They're either taking a quarterback or BPA at 2.
I don't know. The Browns need help, and the Raiders can offer quite a bit of help.
Yeah, that Travis Hunter fella, he can fill 2 positions at once.
Or he can fill no positions at once. We don't know if he's going to be any good.
Well, we don't, but the Browns is the Browns is the Browns.
Which is why they would trade out and then take... Who's the equivalent of Justin Gilbert in this class? Or Corey Coleman?
Saints could also.
Are you old
jump
enough
over
to remember these guys?
I am.
Okay. I don't know.
But yeah, no, I don't see a world where Ben Johnson wants to go to the Raiders at all. No quarterback, no receiver core, no run game.
No
You have a
Hey, man.
decent enough offensive line. Okay, you have Jacoby Myers.
You have
and that is
Jacoby
it.
Myers and Brock Bowers. That's all you need.
Not a receiver.
That
Tight
is,
end.
that
Tight
is,
end.
yeah, that's literally just his 2 receivers in Detroit, basically. He's got his Amon-Ra and his Sam Laporta.
Where's his Jameson Williams?
Literally hire any fast guy.
I thought you were gonna say any fat guy. That'd be funny.
Yes.
No correlation.
Just go sign John Ross. There you go. Winner.
I think John
genuinely-
Ross is in Guatemala by now, dude.
Maybe, but John Ross probably can track a deep ball better than Jameson Williams. Jameson Williams should have like 1,800 yards, but he cannot track a ball.
Either way, I don't trust Ben Johnson going to the Raiders at all. It's Chicago or New England to me.
Yeah, I know. He's going to Chicago. It's all fun and games. Who did you interview today? Anthony Weaver? It's all fun and games until Anthony Weaver's your head coach.
If Anthony Weaver's our head coach, I am coming to Wyoming and making January 6th look like a joke on your property.
W.
But yeah, what game were we fucking talking about? The Giants, the Eagles,
we didn't. Yeah, we said I'm sorry. That was our quote for the Giants.
Yeah, what else?
Colts Jaguars. Colts have fun running it back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll talk.
Flacco started this game.
Yeah, because Anthony Richardson's hurt.
Oh,
But
that's right,
remember,
did
because I
say
yelled
that.
at Steichen because the first time it was, he might have just sat because like he had the back issue and maybe he was healthy
Oh,
this week,
that's
but
right. I
because
did
the
forget
back
about the
issue was
back
fucked
thing.
up
Okay.
because Steichen's an asshole. But so
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
last week where that whole thing happened. But like I think it was a bit of he still has the back issue and there is no point in playing him this week. So fuck it.
Heard. That would track.
And then for the Jaguars, BTJ is insane, dude.
Yeah, BTJ Rod, all pro.
He's got a
Second
chance to be
small
all time, man. I
Yeah.
don't like going that way, like saying that about rookies much, but like, and I know I have over the last couple of years. I said it about Jefferson. I said it about Chase. Correct about both of those. Normally you don't say it, but normally you don't get this many guys that are this level this quickly. But like BTJ's insane.
Yeah.
Harbaugh looks like a genius for saying the debate was never neighbors or alt. It was BTJ or alt. He looks like a genius.
Yeah.
Yeah, BTJ, go to football. Who's the next game? Commanders, Cowboys.
Fuck if I care.
For the
dude.
Cowboys, Miller loves you. And it has nothing to do with the game. It's for denying the McCarthy request.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
I am very happy about that.
I I was really, not because I wanted it to happen, but I did want to experience the Miller crash out of the Bears hiring McCarthy. I really did. I'm sorry. I wanted to see the crash out.
I already know how I'd talk myself into it too. That's the bad thing.
That's insane.
McCarthy won a ring with Rodgers. Caleb Williams plays a lot like Aaron Rodgers. Therefore, also, you know what Mike McCarthy always has?
Beat the
A
Packers.
fullback that gets the
Oh.
ball.
You know,
Always has a
fair.
fullback that gets the ball.
That's true.
Did I just talk myself into Mike McCarthy?
Are you upset that you didn't
Technically
get to
speaking, the
interview him?
Bears, the Bears can still interview him after January 14th.
Yeah.
They just weren't allowed to interview him
The
early.
Cowboys need to just make their decision with McCarthy already.
Yeah.
Maybe it's McCarthy that's not making the decision. Maybe he's like, what if I just want to
Fair.
leave? Fuck this place.
I will bend the knee to Jerry no longer.
Right? Maybe that's it. For the Commanders, Terry McLaurin's the GOAT. I don't
Yeah,
know.
he's
This
pretty good
game
at
really
football.
meant nothing. So,
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
them.
it's literally a thing.
Enjoy the
What can we say
playoffs.
about? I was gonna say, yeah, playoffs. Uh, they avoided the Eagles.
True. Honestly, huge.
Yeah,
Because I think the Commanders can beat the Bucks. I don't think it's likely, but I see
I
that
have a
vision.
lot more faith in them.
And
Way more
weirdly,
faith in them beating the Bucks than the Eagles.
and if a team was going to beat the Eagles in the wild card, I have a lot more faith in Green Bay being able to do it than I do Washington. I do. I'm struggling. I just want that game to get hit by a meteor, if I'm honest. I don't,
Why?
because Eagles and Packers, hate them both.
You scared
No, honestly,
of Philly?
no. But you know what I am wanting? I want the
What?
Commanders and Packers to win. Because it gives the Vikings
course
one
you
more home
do.
game. It gives the Vikings
Of
another
course you
home
do.
game.
Yeah, no, this is
Yeah.
shocker. This guy wants the thing that will benefit his team.
Yeah. But it's like, it feels gross because, like, Packers winning is gross.
Let's go Bucks and Eagles.
Yeah, that's fair.
Washington or Minnesota divisional round exit.
No, we'd beat Philly.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
If the Lions defense can turn Sam Darnold back into a pumpkin, I'm confident Phillies can.
I promise you it wasn't the defense.
Okay, either
Dude,
way, they were able to capitalize on it.
Sure. But it was just Sam Darnold. Like, the defense wasn't making good plays. Sam Darnold was just missing open passes. It's not going to happen again, I promise.
The ghosts have returned.
I did say that in that game.
They're back.
They're back. Bears, Packers. Bears, you won your Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Like, actually.
Which is
and this
more
isn't
than
me
I
being a
can say the
douchebag.
Packers. The Packers won't win a Super Bowl this year, but the Bears did.
I don't see a world where they can.
No. First round exit. Yeah. And then Packers, congratulations. You're playing one more game than Chicago.
Hey, you might get two.
No.
Yeah.
Philadelphia is going to curb stomp them.
Honestly, I agree now. So the reason I wasn't agreeing prior was this hope for not this hope, but the chance that Hurts wasn't going to play because he didn't clear protocol. He still technically hasn't, but he practiced today. So
I think Tanner McKee could have done it.
Then no,
I think he could have done it.
I don't. I really
With
don't.
Saquon, I think Saquon could have put up 200 in the playoffs.
That's
Easy.
possible. But
you know, I'm so happy with how that Bears game went. Did you watch the last drive?
no.
Dude, it was by far and away the best drive of Caleb's rookie season. I'm so happy. Because you know the situation, right? Packers went up
Yep.
2. Bears had to get in field goal range, had no timeouts. First play of the drive, he takes a sack, gets back up. He hits a fucking dime to Rome on the sideline. And then the Bears get in position. They run this fucking like vertical stack set.
Yeah,
where
I
instead
saw
of being a
that
punch
play because
set-
the Packers are fucking stupid.
Yeah. But that play got changed at the last second.
Oh, did it?
Because initially everyone was supposed to play the sideline, but throughout the game, DJ had been getting pressed like hard. So Caleb told him before the play, if you get pressed, run inside because they're going to press you to the outside, take that inside release. And that's why they got in field goal range. And then they were able to get the ball up and spike it, and Cairo hit it.
Nice.
So Caleb made the adjustment that won them the game,
Oh.
essentially. It's crazy what happens when Caleb's allowed to make plays in crunch time and his coaches don't get in the way. Because he's had how many game-winning drives taken from him now? Like 5?
Yeah.
And then this one, it finally goes the distance. It made me so happy.
Wow. Moving on. Bucks 27, Saints 19. Saints, maybe you do need Derek Carr.
Oh my God. Do you know who led the Saints in rushing yards
Clyde
in this
Edwards-Helaire. I didn't even know he was still in the league. But yeah.
Do you know who scored the only receiving touchdown for the Saints in this game?
Your favorite thing in the world.
Don't
I
say
almost
it like
got
that.
him
That
to
makes
say
it
it.
weird.
Yeah, that's the
That
point.
makes it weird.
You make it weird every time you call
gross.
Dante Pettis the other name.
Bro's scared to say it.
I'm not saying it. That's so weird.
Scared to say it.
For the Buccaneers, you got Mike Evans his 1,000 yards.
He got 1,000 yards. Baker made huge plays. Bucky Irving is fucking awesome. What else can be said? I'm a little concerned about their defense, but
Yeah,
we'll see.
especially against Jaden.
I forgot Shaq ended up back in.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to matter, but he is back.
No, it doesn't matter, but it's a nice little thing going on. Perhaps his aura will elevate them.
Bills Patriots. To the Bills. I don't care, man. You rested your starters. Who cares?
Mitch Trubisky touchdown.
For the Patriots.
That is all.
I kind of want to talk about this. Joe Milton. QB controversy?
He had a great day.
Controversy? No. Dude, Milton looked fucking sick. Maybe the Raiders are going to trade for Milton.
I hope they do. That would be so funny because he might be worse than Aiden O'Connell.
I don't know how you can watch that game and just be like, he sucks at everything. Every concern I had, he beat those allegations in this game.
He had one good game against backups.
Hey, man.
How many guys have we said this about? They might be legit because they had one good game against backups.
That's not entirely true. Multiple starters played for the Bills all day.
Who?
Damar Hamlin, Taylor Rapp, Von Miller, Rasul Douglas.
Okay. How many snaps did they play?
I don't know. I'm not seeing the snaps number. I see Damar, Kyer Elam, but he's not a starter anymore.
I know their best defensive player didn't play a snap.
Who cares?
I mean, I do. That matters a lot. Defensively, so who are you saying? Von Miller played 3 snaps.
Hey,
AJ
man.
Epinesa played 5.
Registered a tackle. Oh, I didn't
Rasul
even count.
Douglas played a grand total of 16.
Hey.
And that was the most for a starter because Damar Hamlin, Cole Bishop, and Taylor Rapp are all competing for one safety spot. So they spent this week trying to figure out.
Damar Hamlin started like every game this year.
Yeah, I read an article about it from the Bills. They were trying to figure out who's going to be the best going forward because Cole Bishop's made a lot of really big plays.
Yeah, but his name is Cole.
Really big plays. I mean, he was great at Utah.
Don't care. Name's
Good
Cole.
Player.
Playing good at Utah means nothing.
Fuck you. Best tight end in the league's named Cole.
All right, chill. Not even the best tight end in the North.
Yeah, tell TJ Hawkinson to cut his hair. He looks like a girl.
Hey, Miller, don't look at your own hair, dipshit.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Bro's putting his hair in a ponytail as if that's not somehow more girlish.
What are you talking about?
Dumb cunt. Moving on. Chargers, Raiders.
Dude, hold on. What is this man's name?
Oh, God.
Okay. Yeah. Brandon Cordington.
played legitimate snaps in this game. And you mean to tell me this means that Joe Milton is good now?
Hey, man, the Patriots roster is full of Brandon Coddingtons, or whatever name you said.
Cordingtons.
Cordington. Same. I was shockingly close for a guy.
Holy Toledo! He played how many snaps?
Who?
Reggie Gilliam played 28 snaps.
There you go.
That is 48% or 42% of Buffalo's offense. That's awesome. But no, listen.
Look at the Patriots defense. They're all the same guy too.
Listen, Joe Milton played well. Credit to him, right? This changes nothing for me.
Bro's a hater.
Let me see him do it. No, I'm not. I'm a fucking realist. People tried to do the same thing with Tommy DeVito. Tried to do the same thing with Tyson Bagent.
Yeah,
tried
but
to do the same thing.
Here's the difference between them, though. Think about it.
What?
What does Milton have that DeVito, Bagent, those guys don't?
Yeah, he
a
has
shred of
athletic
talent,
traits.
actual talent. The other guys don't.
The other guys I just mentioned are better pocket passers.
Except they're not, because they can't make the throws, because they're not that good at anything. I wouldn't trust Tyson Bagent to win me a college football game. I wouldn't trust Tommy DeVito to win me a high school football game.
What was that guy's name that went to the Bengals, won a bunch of games, and told your team specifically you should have never fucking cut me?
Jake
what was
Browning.
that bum's name? Browning?
Yeah.
Remember when these conversations were had about Jake Browning last year?
Do you remember me saying that was stupid? Because you can't have these conversations about a guy with no talent. And saying no talent's not fair. But there are levels to talent. And we've always said if Joe Milton could figure it out, he has a chance to be
and I refuse to say he figured it out for one football game.
Don't say he figured it out, but stop pretending like he's worse than Tommy DeVito. You're dumb for saying. You said he's worse than Aiden O'Connell, who you've said is the worst quarterback in the NFL. Pick a fucking thing. Either Milton has the chance to be really good, or he's the worst quarterback in football. You got to pick one. You can't say, well, he has the talent, but he's somehow worse than these guys who have no talent and have played worse, like always.
I've seen Aiden O'Connell put it together at least a competent performance against starters. I've yet to see Joe Milton do that.
Well, you know what?
I don't
trot Joe Milton out next week against the Steelers. That's good defense.
Yeah, and he'll die.
Nah.
Minka Fitzpatrick is looking at that saying, lunchtime. Licking his lips. Beanie Bishop.
Yeah,
West
Minka's
Virginia
doing that
legend.
and then diving into Derrick Henry's knee because he's a bitch. Fuck Minka.
Okay, then Beanie Bishop, West Virginia legends, walking away with like
all
5
right,
picks.
bro. Speaking of Aiden O'Connell, might be him as they lose to the Chargers.
Him in a loss.
Hey, I mean, that's how you've had to talk about your quarterback in every game this year. Might be him in a loss. Except for this week, so congrats.
I don't like your face.
I don't either, man. It's okay.
You deserve that face. I'm sorry. That was
Miller.
really...
I'm gonna take the high road, and not take any shots at you.
I'm sorry. No, I have.
But
no
just
room
know
to
the
talk.
chamber is loaded.
I have no room to talk. It's okay, I know.
I don't know, man. The Chargers, you got the 4 seed, which means also actually real thought. You have a real receiver room.
Oh yeah.
Gladden QJ is so sick, dude.
Yeah.
QJ is figuring it out, and I am so happy.
If you give them a real tight end, their offense is like unstoppable. And no shot at Will Dissly. Will Dissly's done tremendous in what he's been asked to do, but you still want someone a little bit better.
But they need a guy. Yeah. Who's the free agent tight ends this year?
Fucker free agent, kid from Penn State.
I don't know if he's
Tyler Warren?
I don't think he's going to be around to get. You know what I mean?
Is he going that high?
I don't know.
I mean, I haven't watched. I just
from the way everybody talks is that this draft class sucks. So if it sucks that bad and he's that good, he'll go top 10. That's how that works.
Gotcha.
And the Chargers are not picking top 10 this time around.
Right.
Yeah, they're not signing somebody. Move up and go get. Because what you've got literally Tyler Conklin, Mo Alley Cox, Austin Hooper. I guess Mike Gesicki, but I feel like he doesn't. That's not a.
Oh my God,
that's not a
Harbaugh would
Harbaugh
hate
kind.
Gesicki.
Honestly, of those guys, the guy Harbaugh would love is Tyler Conklin. Like, yeah, actually,
dude, Harbaugh would sacrifice Mike Gesicki to Satan to get a better tight end that can block.
He would just take Conklin while everybody else is like, but Gesicki's better. Harbaugh's going to be like, no.
Well, that's just silly.
What?
I'm looking at PFF's free agent rankings for next year. They have Justin Fields ranked as more valuable than Aaron Jones.
Quarterback.
Yeah, but they're also talking
quarterback.
about Justin Fields as a backup quarterback in their little like blurb.
But quarterback.
I'd rather have a good starting running back
I
than
know.
a backup quarterback.
I think that has to be based on injuries.
I guess.
It has to be.
Yeah, because they got Hufanga at 23.
Yeah, it's injury based. For the Raiders, I get that you did this so you can try to get Ben Johnson. I genuinely think firing Telesco was a mistake. He is the first GM who has given you a competent draft class since the turn of the millennium. That was a mistake. It has been 25 years, and he's the only guy who's given you a real draft class, and you fired him after a year.
Yeah,
I get, well, he decided that Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew were the best options at starting quarterback this year. Who else was he supposed to get?
You.
That would be worse. I know my game.
Maybe.
I know my game.
I haven't seen your tape.
Like, you know what? Maybe I'll make some.
Show me the fake field goal that you were running in high school.
Yes.
Show me that former high school kicker.
So the thing that bugs me, like, I get you're doing it for Ben Johnson. What happens if you don't get him? And you're stuck with a GM that's worse than Telesco, probably. Because Telesco can build a good roster. Yeah, his issue has been coach hiring. Yeah, maybe that doesn't get fixed, but also isn't that the point of why Brady's part of the ownership team and like matters now?
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand moving on from Telesco unless they win the Johnson sweepstakes. Then fine. That is the only way it makes sense to me.
Yeah, as much as I want to disagree because I just don't trust Telesco out. Like, in a vacuum last year, yeah, he did well in the draft, but I mean, his history precedes him with the Chargers where he was awful.
Look at the guy.
So I'm saying,
a lot of the pieces he brought into the Chargers are the pieces that are making the Chargers really good.
Yeah, but who else did he bring in to be the head coach that held the Chargers back for years and years?
No, 100%. 100%.
Right. What I'm trying to say is, I want to disagree, but I can't. There's nothing really I can say because, like, objectively speaking, you're right about the draft class thing.
And if you win the Johnson sweepstakes, then it doesn't matter.
It won't.
But you probably won't. It really looks like you're getting Belichick, which is interesting.
He's not leaving college. He doesn't want to leave college.
Yeah, and I'm sure Jets fans, before he went to the Patriots, before ever coaching a game for the Jets, he's not leaving the Jets. He doesn't want to leave the Jets. And then he left the next day.
I mean, he literally came out and said he doesn't want to leave the
yes, Bill Belichick, known truther. He's never told a lie in his life.
I'd be really mad if he left North Carolina to go to the fucking Raiders. I'd hope the Raiders never win under him. Brady? I don't give a fuck.
He gets to reunite with Tom.
But they don't like each other. Unless they mended their relationship after they left.
What if they liked each other the entire time and figured out it was all Robert Kraft all along?
They went to some great couples counseling, honestly.
No, they just listened to Robert Kraft the last 2 months and they went, oh, I see.
Bill walked in the room to have a conversation and he saw the Trump hat, the picture with Trump, something else about Trump, and it all clicked in his head at once like, oh.
I see. I understand it now. Cardinals, Niners. Niners didn't have a team. I don't know.
They're hurt.
Yeah.
Everyone's hurt.
Cardinals, Kyler Murray. Good.
Yes,
Tony Jones, congratulations. I don't know if you ever get another snap, but you got one of the biggest runs of the year, so congrats, dog. Like, actually, congrats.
Also, more importantly, they lit the torch not once, but 2 times.
It only took the entire season to finally have some torch lighting.
But no, I do want to say real quick on the topic of the 49ers, I think there's a lot of optimism to be had with this team, looking at it in a vacuum.
To a degree, yes, but quarterback money, scary.
Okay, so hear me out, right? This is what I'm thinking with the Niners right now, like a realistic outcome for them. And I'm not saying I necessarily think this is perfect. I'm just saying I think this is realistic for them, okay? Because one of the things I'm going to say, I know you're going to disagree with, and I don't inherently disagree with your disagreement. I'm just going to say I think this is realistic for them and it could work, okay? So first and foremost, the big thing that happened this year is you hit on 3 big draft picks, I would say. Ricky Pearsall has looked awesome now that he's recovered from getting shot. Dominic Pooney has been a legit contributor on the O-line, and Malik Mustafa has made me believe that Hufanga is totally expendable. So with that, you get rid of Debo, frees you up a ton of money. You don't really need Debo on this team right now. He's not a necessity. I know you're not big on Ayuk, but
I like Ayuk. I don't like Debo.
Okay, well, either way.
Yeah.
I knew it was one of them. I got the wrong one.
I dislike Debo. He's not a receiver.
You get rid of Debo, that frees you up a lot of money. You let Talanoa Hufanga walk. That saves you a bunch of money because safeties are not cheap in this day and age. And then I do think they are going to bite the bullet and pay Purdy. And I know you're going to disagree with me, but listen, I went back this week specifically for this podcast recording. I went back this week and watched not every single snap that Purdy took, but a large majority of his big games. Games where he was missing big weapons, games where, the Niners kind of hung in, games where they won, things like that. I walked away more impressed with Purdy than I thought. Is Purdy someone I want to pay $50 million a year? No. I'm going to say that right now. I don't want to. Do I think the Niners will because he fits what Shanahan wants and they're going to be able to talk themselves into it based on his play this year? I think so.
I think based on his play this year, you can't talk yourself into giving him $1.
Why?
Because in every single game where he's missing a single piece, he cannot function. He throws 4 picks and tries to play hero ball like he's Caleb Williams while having the arm strength of a toddler. He's not good at anything.
This year where he elevated the offense.
No, to losing,
I can say
congrats. You lost. You elevated and lost. Probably because of a play you made. Because Purdy liked to give it to the other team. A lot. I'm sorry. I do not think Brock Purdy deserves money. Not like that. He's going to get $60 million a year, and the Niners probably don't make another playoff appearance.
Oh, I can't wait for you to be wrong.
Well, I'm going to be wrong because they're not going to pay him $60 million. Shanahan's smart enough to know he can find a better quarterback.
Okay, it's not
for way
that
cheaper
easy to find a quarterback.
Except how many times has Shanahan done it? Did it with Garoppolo? Did it with what?
And where have they led him to?
Losing in the Super Bowl. And guess what? With Purdy, you're going to follow the same path as you did with Jimmy G. Maybe you make the big game, and then you're going to get outgunned by a real quarterback. Sorry. You will not win with Purdy. You won't.
Okay, so where's their super weapon quarterback? Where is he?
I don't know.
And you think Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch are going to just say, I don't know what we're going to do at quarterback?
No, I think you find a quarterback who can possibly have a chance at being better than Purdy, which is a pretty long list.
Go ahead.
I mean, currently, of the guys they can go get this year, the list is fairly shallow because I don't love any of the guys in the draft. Okay. Any of them. I do not. So, if specifically this year, but Purdy has another year on his deal, so I just say you don't extend him yet and you deal with next year. But for this year, I genuinely think, ceiling-wise, Sam Darnold is better. He has a better arm.
Where's the guarantee that he becomes available?
There isn't one. But
right.
Sure, there isn't one. But it's not like you lose Purdy if you hope that he becomes available. Like, if Darnold becomes available, sign him. And then trade Purdy. Because a team like, I don't know, the Raiders would give you real assets. Like, real assets. You'll get the 8th overall pick for Purdy. And the Raiders will be stuck paying him because they're stupid.
If this was the case, why did Darnold not take over for Purdy last year?
I have no idea.
I think it's pretty clear that Shanahan feels differently about
Does he?
Darnold
what guy did Shanahan say is the best throw of the football he's ever seen? Real quick, actually answer this. Don't say I know, because this matters.
He said Sam Darnold, but did Sam Darnold start for Kyle Shanahan? Did he put his money where his mouth was? No.
Shanahan's never put his money where his mouth is. Not one time in his life.
Remember how this entire thing was me saying, I don't inherently agree with it. I just think it's what the Niners will do.
They probably will. And I stand by. That is why Shanahan's never winning a Super Bowl in San Fran. I stand by it.
So, just to recap.
Yeah.
You think the Niners should get rid of Purdy, say, I don't know what to do at quarterback.
No, I'm not saying they should say I don't know what to do. They have this entire offseason to try something. And then you have the plan to, if you don't, you don't end up with Darnold, because there's always trade options that open up that nobody thinks about. Now, whether they happen or not is an entirely different question. There's always options, is what I'm saying. I'm saying you do not, this year, sign Purdy to a $60 million deal and just go, well, sticking with QB 16 or 17 is better than, I don't know, thinking. It's just like, we'll just pay QB 16 or 17 more money than Mahomes and expect to win football games. Because you don't. What guy getting paid money has won their team a Super Bowl other than Mahomes? Oh, Brady. Nice. Oh, Stafford. What do those guys all have in common? Being like top 5 at their position? If you're going to pay a guy, he needs to be a guy.
Okay.
That is my entire point.
There's only so many.
So, as teams, this is weird for me to say, because I think Brock Purdy should be trying to make $60 million. Like, go get your bag, kid. But also, the NFL teams, at some point, something's got to give somewhere. You cannot just keep increasing the amount you're paying mediocre quarterbacks. You can't. I don't know how you fix it, but eventually we're going to get to the point where your quarterback is eating 75% of your salary cap. Like, that day is coming. Yeah. The salary cap, they're already near there. The salary cap's what, $218 million? And Jared Goff's getting 60? Like, that's fucking ridiculous, dude.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And if I'm running a team, especially if I'm Shanahan, where I have made it work with guys like Purdy, with Jimmy G, with Nick Mullins, I'm sorry, I'm taking a shot at that I can just do that again rather than overpaying a guy and causing my team. Sure, Debo's not that big of a piece, of a loss right now.
Right.
But also, there's a bunch of guys that contracts are going to start coming due over the next 2 years. Suddenly, it's not just about Debo. It's next year when you lose Fred Warner. And the year after that when you lose CMC and Kittle. And the year after that when Ayuk's gone. And you're left with an empty cupboard and Brock Purdy. And you've guaranteed yourself being the worst team in football because you chose to pay a bad player. Not a bad player. A fine player.
Here's the thing with that. You bring up specifically CMC and Kittle. Mm-hmm. I don't think in 2-3 years' time, they're going to be players you're that worried about paying.
Maybe.
I think Kittle's going to be on the cusp of, if not retired. And if McCaffrey keeps it up, I don't know if he's a player you worry about paying next year.
Sure.
As shitty as that is to say, because he's the second most talented running back in the league, he can't stay healthy for more than 5 minutes.
It
Sure,
sucks.
but then
we hope the Niners would avoid that.
But then we really are talking about already Purdy with nothing. You have to restock the cupboard, but now you're at a disadvantage because you're poor.
What I'm saying.
Well, but
let me add to that too, okay?
Yeah.
When Shanahan was doing this with Jimmy Garoppolo, with Nick Mullins, with CJ Beathard, with all these rando quarterbacks, his job security was at an all-time high.
Sure.
We're already hearing complaints this year, or stories this year about Shanahan's future with the Niners being a total question mark.
Yeah, and people have been making those stories about Mike Tomlin since 2012. Stories are just that. I'm sorry. Do you, again, trusting big reporters, right? Do you believe Jay Glazer when he says the Vikings are, not that teams are going to call about Kevin O'Connell, but that the Vikings are actually going to listen to calls about trading Kevin O'Connell? Do you believe every story these fucking morons put out?
No, but I do believe that when the Niners have a year like this and they've been sticking with Shanahan, going with Shanahan's plan, and as you've already brought up, they failed to win a ring under it, eventually you're going to realize that marriage isn't working.
And maybe
you're going to
to
make a move.
I still stand by, honestly, I still stand by Shanahan needs to go. Not because he's a bad coach. I view this entirely the same as Andy Reid. Like,
and I'm
he
not
had
saying
to
I
leave
inherently
to
disagree with that. Right, and that could very well be the case.
Yeah.
However, Shanahan hasn't shown any signs thus far that we know of that he wants out.
Right.
So right now, I can only operate under the assumption that Shanahan wants to keep his job in San Francisco. Yeah. You do not risk that job by saying, we have a quarterback who, I'm looking at the numbers right now, was one of the 10 most efficient throwers of the football in the league, had one of the 10 best completion percentages over expected in the league among all quarterbacks, in spite of having a dog shit offensive line, in spite of missing all of his biggest offensive weapons not named George Kittle for the majority of the year. You don't look at that guy and say, yeah, I'm going to take a risk and let him go, even though my job's on the line.
You're just talking about it the same way they talked themselves into keeping Jimmy G. That's it.
Sure.
And how does that...
I'm not even saying it's a good move. I'm just saying it's what I think they'll make.
You're probably right. I'm hoping Shanahan's smarter than that.
Honestly, I don't... Listen, I'm just going to say it like flat out. I don't think Purdy's half as bad as you and Jake do.
I told you so you think he's a top 8 quarterback.
You said...
I said he's quarterback 17 is what I said.
I think he's... Okay,
I don't think you can go higher than that.
I think you can say he's easily a top 13, 14 quarterback.
I don't.
If not higher. I do.
I don't think he can sniff the top 10 ever in his life.
And I simply disagree.
He just doesn't have the talent. So currently they're going to lose Travarius Ward and Drake Greenlaw this year, as well as probably Debo. Probably... Yeah. Who is the other name you said? Yeah, thank you. Brain exploded.
So, 2 guys they have contingency plans in place for. Drake Greenlaw, there's still a chance he comes back.
Sure.
And Ward, he's probably leaving because of some off-the-field stuff. Did you hear about that story?
No.
So, I don't know the specific context of it, but him and his wife lost a child during his time at the Niners. And he's literally said his wife can't fly into San Francisco because of the pain that it brings her. So he's kind of all but said he wants to leave specifically for that purpose, which sucks, but like there's literally nothing you can do about that. And also, like, not to say that he's a replaceable football player, but they've had some guys really step up at corner over the last couple years.
Okay, but you've been telling me this guy's a top 10 corner. You can't just replace a top 10 corner.
No, you can't, but when you literally can't keep him...
That's true.
You can look on the bright side.
That's fair, I guess.
This isn't me saying, it's not me saying, Lenore's old, ship him out, you're fine. I'm saying, okay, there's no world where you retain him, so let's look on the bright side. Renardo Green looked great this year. Diamador Lenore's been great. They've been drafting corners well. They'll be fine. It's going to be a loss, but they'll be able to manage it because they know it's happening ahead of time. There's no, like, wondering, like, will he come back? Is there a world where we can convince him to stay and then you miss out on replacements? This is, okay, he's not coming back. We can plan ahead of time. Yeah. It's a bit of a different situation. And also, I don't think he's a top 10 corner anymore.
I'm more heated about this argument just because as much as I don't love the 49ers as a team, understand better than most the living in mediocrity and paying them like they're Mahomes thing, and how it guarantees you will never win.
Yeah, the fortunate truth is you have to pay your quarterback.
I just don't know if I agree anymore. Because if Shanahan is the coach we think he is, why can't he do what O'Connell's doing and just find a guy with the tools
that O'Connell does? He can't afford to take
Kevin
the risk.
O'Connell doesn't have a contract past the next year. Technically, if the Vikings had come out and been shit this year, people would be talking about, do they move on from O'Connell?
Okay,
he's been 2 losing seasons.
This year also didn't have any choice. They drafted J.J. McCarthy thinking he was going to be the guy, and then he suffered a freak injury, and that derailed everything.
They still actually planned to start Darnold all year, though. Like, that was real.
But again, they at least had a successor, a long-term plan in place. The Niners, if they get rid of Purdy, won't inherently have that.
I wish there was somebody in this draft class off the top of my head that I could say take a flyer on.
Sure, and if you had that,
if you go draft Quinn Ewers in the 3rd round, unless Shanahan will know he knew with Purdy in practice, so he would know. Like, draft Ewers, and if he sucks, fine, sign Purdy. If he doesn't, fuck it, we have the successor.
Yeah,
I don't think another 7th round flyer is correct for the Niners.
Right.
If you're going to do it this way, you have to either go sign a Darnold or go draft a guy. I'm not saying in the 1st round, but first couple of rounds. One of the guys that we can see a Jalen Milroe, a Quinn Ewers, one of those guys where we see the ability for them to be good, and they just need some help. You know, the original Matt Corral
more
type.
Power to him.
Yeah.
But my point is, there's no guarantee of that.
I know.
And when your job security is at an all-time low, at least from what we understand,
I know.
Again, all speculation, there's nothing set in stone. Obviously, we could be way wrong, and the Niners could have Shanahan tied up with a lock and key and say, you will die a 49er.
Right.
And we'd all be wrong.
Which, honestly, I probably would if I was the Niners, but...
I would, too. But again, we don't have that information, and right now we can only operate under the assumption of he's a great head coach, but he's underachieved, and eventually, like every other NFL organization before them, the Niners are going to reach a breaking point, and they're going to say, Kyle, we love you, but this isn't working out. We've stayed together long enough for the kids. They've grown up. They've gone off to college. We can finally split things off. You can go be with Deborah, and we're going to go with the gym instructor. Like, there's a real possibility where that happens. And Shanahan right this second can't afford to wait for that.
Right.
He's got to make a move, and by all accounts, he's sticking with Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
And we're always going to differ on where we think Purdy can do, and I've accepted that. I'm not trying to argue you either way with that.
Fair.
I'm just saying I think there's a very real world where they do it.
No, I know.
Personally, if they do it, I'm not going to be mad. But I'm just saying I think we all
most
need to prepare
likely
for
they're
Brock
going to
Purdy
do
get
it.
Jared Goff money, and it's going to be silly.
I just can't. I can't stand it, man. I just lived in this purgatory too long. I would genuinely rather be bad.
That. And listen, I get the idea of not wanting coaches or not wanting teams to settle for less than perfect.
Yeah.
But the thing is, perfect doesn't fall into your lap.
Well, it's not about less than perfect. It's just like, it's again, trusting your offensive coach, who is that guy, to be able to find. I'm not saying every quarterback can be Sam Darnold, but I'm saying with Shanahan's system, you can make a lot of quarterbacks look good. I don't think you can rock Josh Dobbs, but I think there are a lot of actual really talented quarterbacks that you could just go get and be able to maybe not be as good as Purdy, but be close. And I think if you can, let's say, for the sake of argument, Purdy is QB 14. And let's say, I don't care who it is. Use whatever quarterback you're in love with outside of your team that isn't that good. Sure. I actually, no, I can't say that one. But like Sam Darnold before this year, or Daniel Jones moving forward, because a lot of coaches do see talent with Daniel Jones.
Right.
If this is your option, you can pay Purdy $60 million a year to be QB 14. Or you can pay Daniel Jones $12 million a year to be QB 18. Which one would you rather do? Because the ceiling, to me, between QB 14 and 18, the exact same. You need a really good situation. But the 12 versus $60 million, that's 5 good players. That's
right.
the actual difference here.
But the problem is, it's okay, and this is going to sound very like, I don't know, like a GM apologist stuff. Maybe.
Yes.
But here's the thing, right? It's very easy for us to say that sitting here when we don't have our lifeline and millions of dollars on the line to make that risk.
Okay. It'll never happen. I will never be an NFL GM. I understand this. But I promise you, if I was, I would be taking this risk.
And there are some GMs that are like that.
Yeah.
Not all of them are.
That most aren't. Who is?
Right.
Kwesi?
Right,
Who
exactly.
gave Kirk Cousins a number and Kirk said no, and Kwesi went, all right, dude.
But literally, I'm sitting here looking at next-gen stats, and you have Brock Purdy as one of the 10 most efficient passers in football.
Yeah.
In spite of everything going wrong,
Sure.
I think that is plenty for Shanahan and Lynch to sit down and go, we know Brock.
Sure.
We trust Brock.
I get it.
We have stood by Brock, and Brock, even though we weren't successful, stood by us this year.
Yeah.
Let's repay him for that and move on.
Sure. Let's move on because we've been talking about this for 30 minutes.
Good. I have a thumbnail. I don't have to question what the thumbnail's gonna be.
Should it be that? I don't know. It's playoff
I
time.
think
Carson Wentz sucks.
Yeah.
That's the take for the Chiefs. The Broncos, dude, I sound like such a hater, but
you do.
But also, let's be honest. Congratulations, you bullied third stringers. I don't care.
Hey, man, a win is a win is a win
No,
is a win.
100%. But like, it's tough because I sound like such a hater. But what is our big thing, Miller? Watching the tape. And I'm not saying Bo Nix played bad, but 3 of his touchdowns were luck. They were not good throws. They were luck. They were bad throws by definition. And he got lucky. But hey, sometimes it genuinely is better to be lucky than good. Like, actually.
Yeah.
Joe Flacco made an entire career off of that.
Real.
So, like...
Nick Foles got himself dinner in Philly for free for his entire life off of that. It happens.
The real take for the Broncos is, I'm sorry that you have to go to Buffalo.
Yeah. I was going to say, can you at least be a little happy that Marvin Mims had 2 touchdowns?
Oh, dude, Marvin Mims is so legit.
Yeah, he rocks.
I love that. Marvin Mims
so
and the other guy, Nick Bonito, being legit.
Yeah.
It makes me happy.
You know what makes me really happy, and I'm going to sound like a hater now?
Let's go.
I'm really happy that Marvin Mims is what everyone told me that dude from Oregon that came over with Bo Nix was going to be.
Yeah.
That makes me so happy. I know his name. I'm just choosing not to say it out of respect. I have nothing against him. I just hate the way people talked about him pre-draft. Oh my God.
And
he's
again,
just another skinny guy that goes deep, and he wasn't even fast.
The issue I still have is picking him over Tim Patrick was ridiculous. Because you know how much better this Broncos offense would be with a Tim Patrick? Because the Broncos chose to add the guy that Tim Patrick replaced in Detroit. And how much better is Detroit's offense? Because they have Tim Patrick. It's actually a lot. Tim Patrick is sick, and it makes me sick.
Credit to Denver, though, for getting themselves back up on their feet, though, after letting go of Tim Patrick, because they found a very nice replacement for him in Devon Vele, the rookie out of Utah. He's doing exactly what Tim Patrick would have been doing, and I'm very happy they made that pick after letting Patrick go, because that definitely told me, like, we wanted Tim Patrick, but money.
It still bugs me. It wasn't even money. The roster spot was between Tim Patrick and Troy Franklin. They picked Troy Franklin. And that's why I hate it. If you had just told me, like, well, Vele and Patrick do the same thing, and Vele and Patrick do the same thing. That's who this is between. Then, okay, fine. But that's not what the reports were. It was Franklin or Patrick. And I don't care that Vele does the same thing. I would rather have 2 Tim Patricks than 1 Troy Franklin.
Right.
I just would.
Which is weird because I remember I didn't see this report, so my assumption was always they just picked Vele over Patrick, and I'm totally cool with that.
Sure.
Because you got a younger Tim Patrick that doesn't have an injury history. But, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's a little silly.
Moving on, we've got Rams Seahawks. Jimmy Garoppolo sucks.
This is nothing new.
That is my takeaway for the Rams. Jordan Whittington's good.
Jordan Whittington fucks. If Jordan Whittington would have been given the ball like seriously this year, I'm not saying he would have been Puka, but he would have made plays that would have had people in the media being like, "Did they get another Puka?" And everyone would have been like, "No, but he's still really good." Because Whittington plays a lot more like Skoranek. He reminds me a lot of Benny Skoranek.
Yeah.
And obviously the Rams don't have Ben Skoranek anymore, and they really liked Ben Skoranek when they had him. But yeah, Jordan
for the Seahawks, money dependent, you got to keep Geno.
Oh yeah.
Like, again, if it's $60 million or Geno, I will be again the one pounding the table saying you keep the money and find another quarterback. But that is because I feel like, to me, paying quarterbacks more than $30 million is something you only do if you find an alien. And Geno's not. Sam Darnold's not.
Geno's
Purdy's
on the wrong
not.
side of 30 at this point.
That also. Like,
that would be
if
why
you can
I
get
feel...
Geno for Baker money, fine.
Right.
Deal. I respect the hell out of Baker for realizing that, like, what level he is. $30 million is still a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like, and he knows now that with that, the Bucs can build a real team and he can be a real quarterback that matters instead of. How's Groper Cleveland doing?
Well,
sorry. Noah Fant is
quick,
awesome, by the way.
He does rock. AJ Barner, their other tight end, also fucks. I want to say real quick, I really hope after that entire conversation we just had Purdy signs for like $30 million a year. That would be so funny.
I'd be way down for that.
No, I know. I'm just saying it would be really funny if after all that Purdy does the Baker thing and realizes like, yeah, I'm not one of the guys. Because honestly, I think especially for him going from Mr. Irrelevant money to $30 million a year,
dude,
is a real spike.
Yeah.
But no, with this game specifically, I agree with what you're saying about Geno, and I would be less likely to pay him, which is weird because I trust him more than Purdy, but the age is obviously an issue.
That's
and the idea of paying a quarterback, I know quarterbacks play until they're fucking 80 now, but the idea of paying a quarterback who's on the wrong side of 30, $60 million a year.
It's not just wrong side of 30. He will be 35 during next season.
Yeah, that makes my skin crawl. The idea of paying him that much at that age.
Yeah.
Like you should be paying to put him in a retirement home at that point, not paying him $60 million a year. Also, how do you feel about the Seahawks firing Ben Grubb, the offensive coordinator?
I don't understand.
Have you heard what their reasoning was? So him and Mike McDonald did not see eye to eye at all offensively. Because Mike McDonald wants to establish the run, which makes sense.
I mean, you have Charbonnet and
Ken Walker.
Thank you. Yep. Him and Breece Hall, my brain breaks.
And they just didn't do it at all this year.
No.
Which even like it doesn't make any sense. So I totally get why they fired him, and honestly, I don't. Because the thing is, he's coming over from Washington. He was the coach there. They didn't run the ball at all. At Washington University. So coming in, he's not going to run the ball. So I've seen a lot of people, like I was talking to Patrick and Jackson about this the other day. Like, why do you hire him in the first place if you want to run the ball? Because he's not going to. And I think I officially have my conspiracy theory.
Oh?
The Seahawks were convinced they were getting Penix.
Oh.
And that's why they hired him. Because they thought, Penix, like, he can adapt to different offenses. I'm not saying he needed to specifically be in that offense, but obviously it would make the transition a hell of a lot smoother if he brought his guy with him. So I'm fully convinced they did that. They were fully sold they were going to get Penix. They didn't. You obviously can't just say, well, you've been here for a couple months, you're fired. We didn't get one player that we wanted in the draft. Your job is now gone. You can't do that. There's so many issues that arise if you try to do that.
Yeah.
So you have to ride out the year with them. Seahawks underperform, they underachieve. You come up with the big, we wanted to run the ball and he didn't thing in the offseason, and you regroup and reassess.
That makes a lot of sense.
This is my tinfoil hat Seahawks conspiracy.
I still genuinely think the Raiders thought they were getting Penix.
I'm sure there were like 6 teams that thought they were getting Penix, and then Atlanta was like, fuck you.
Dude, yeah. I still don't understand what their process was. Because it's not because I don't understand drafting a quarterback. I totally do. But with the QBs available, I don't understand how it wasn't JJ. Because, like, at the end of his rookie contract, JJ McCarthy is going to be 26, which is like the age Penix is right now.
I was going to say Penix will be like 30. Not actually, like 28, 29.
Yeah.
But still close enough. Too
But
close
like,
for comfort.
Yeah. Moving on. Dolphins, Jets. Dolphins, Tyreek Hill said deuces.
But then he also backtracked and it was like, actually, I really like it here in Miami. It was just really funny because he made that whole big thing. And then like 2 days later, a story came out where he met with the Dolphins brass and was like, I want to stay.
Yeah.
I think what happened is they started showing him like jersey swaps on Twitter and he saw like the Raiders and he was like, okay, Miami it is. That's my second tinfoil hat conspiracy of the day.
I mean, I could see it.
But I think it makes a lot of sense that he'd want to stick around. That offense is entirely tailored towards him. Like, it is made for him to be successful. Obviously, it wasn't the case this year because there was a lot wrong with this team, but in a vacuum, you look at what they want to do schematically. It's Tyreek Hill's field day out there, which is why he was... He didn't win Offensive Player of the Year, but he was an Offensive Player of the Year candidate the year before last. Or did he win? I don't remember.
I don't think he won. I just
definitely didn't.
Tyreek's also at this point, he's too old. I'm out. Like,
no, I agree.
Just that moment, like the Dolphins to me, you have to get rid of him. You have to get rid of him.
I would if I was Miami.
So.
Especially because you've got Waddle. Him and Tyreek are already like doing the same things. Yeah. And honestly, you can find another relatively quick guy.
You don't even need one. Honestly, if I'm them, I'm letting Tyreek walk and just giving that money to T. Higgins.
Yeah.
Because that gives you an actual receiving core instead of just 5 guys that are the same guy. That's dumb.
Yeah. The only problem with that is that plays into your favorite criticism of Tua.
Yeah.
Because T. Higgins, his impact becomes not non-existent, but it lessens when you can't stretch the field.
Sure. I'm viewing him not just as like a deep threat, but like a true, just like, I don't want to say jump ball guy, but that's what I'm going with.
He'd be an X. He'd be a true X for them. But I'm saying, like, you're not using him to his full capacity if you're not letting him go for 50 balls.
I lied. I know exactly who should know. That's not where my brain went.
Oh, well, I want him to be a Patriot. What are
Carolina.
You thinking? Yeah, that also would work. Just a team with a young quarterback.
Yep.
New England, Carolina, either one of them would work.
Yeah.
Get funky, make it Washington. That'd be freaky. I don't know if they have the money, but
that'd
be freaky.
Scary Terrys. You got Scary Terry and Freaky
Shaq
T.
And Terry McLaurin.
What about Shaq and Terry? Honestly,
Freaky
with the
T is crazy.
Thanks.
Hold on. We're not moving.
We got Scary Terry and Freaky T.
I was gonna say everybody gangsta against Washington until Freaky T comes up and gets called for illegal touching.
Jesus Christ.
What do you do as a DB if you have to guard Freaky T?
I don't know, man. Vikings, Lions. Lions are really good, man. I don't know what you want me to say, but also, can you what?
No, I'm not laughing at you. I promise.
What is up over there, man?
I don't know if I can make this joke on here because I don't know if this word would get us demonetized.
Oh well.
But remember Lester Hayes' nickname?
Oh yeah.
Freaky T puts Lester Hayes to shame. Who wins, Freaky T or Lester the?
Well, that same name is also Chester Taylor's nickname. You remember Chester Taylor?
I do remember Chester Taylor.
It was Chester Taylor, the Chester, the defense,
Oh,
yeah.
word.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I
Nicknames
just
used to
don't know
be
if you're
less
allowed
okay.
to say
Yeah,
that
no.
word on YouTube.
Nicknames used to be less okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, Vikings for the Vikings. Sam Darnold. That's all I got, man. We can actually discuss this game. I don't know why I'm saying it this way.
Right.
Because we're not actually gonna break down the wild card games because we've got to talk about the coaching cycle still. We'll make our picks. For this game though, do you have thoughts?
I think my big thing is we've given the Lions a lot of shit. I'm going to give them their flowers right now because
100%.
obviously this was a huge game. They needed to win it. And I think the biggest impact in this game has to be Alex Anzalone. It became so apparent so quickly how big of an impact he has on this defense, not just from what he does, but the personality he brings, the energy he brings, the way he sets up for other guys to succeed. I mean, the Vikings run game, it ended up being better than I remembered, but it still wasn't like a huge factor early on when the game was close. And the Lions were crashing downhill on it. And a big reason for that was Anzalone and what he was setting up for other people. And that forced Darnold to be under a lot more pressure than usual, to have to play a lot more of the normal drop back pass game. And then with Justin Jefferson not having a huge day, that really
was on
impacted.
Sam Darnold.
No, I know, but I'm saying like those two.
I just wanted
connect.
I'm
not trying to throw Jefferson under the bus.
I just want to clear that up because if I see one more Amik locked down Justin Jefferson, it's like watch every play. JJ's wide open. Sam just couldn't hit the broadside of a fucking school.
I was gonna say, if we want to get technical, how many defensive holdings were not called?
Right.
That me and you, so like I remember us seeing it because we were watching it during your stream. I remember seeing it in real time a couple times where he was putting Lester to shame in terms of the touching.
So the running game thing I do want to bring up though. That is the one thing I need to say. While I want to put a lot of this game on Sam Darnold, I do want to say the Vikings defense played awesome. I know this turned into a 31-point game, but pre the fourth quarter when they were exhausted from being on the field more than anybody, like the Lions could not move the ball. Jahmyr Gibbs did not look good. Like he had the one big run in the first quarter and then nothing until the middle of the fourth quarter. The Vikings defense played awesome. Give Flores his flowers. Everyone on the defense deserves their flowers. But I think the other main issue offensively, I've given Kevin O'Connell his flowers when he deserves them, but he doesn't deserve them right here. We had 4 trips to the red zone that resulted in a total of 3 points.
Yeah.
Do you know how many runs we had in the red zone?
How many trips did you say it was?
4.
See,
we ran the ball 0 times in the red zone.
Yeah.
We had goal to go twice. Didn't run the ball 1 time. How? Cam Akers runs the ball 70 yards, gets you to the 3-yard line, and just throw it 4 times in a row? Are you fucking me? What? You have Aaron Jones and Cam Akers. Give it to CJ Ham, or just, I don't know, put CJ Ham in the game and say, score. Because every time they do that, remember last time when CJ Ham just picked Cam Akers up and threw him into the end zone? Suplex time. Like, Kevin O'Connell is one of the best play callers in the NFL, but his hate for the run game drives me nuts. I understand Aaron Jones got a little banged up in this game, but you kept trotting him out there anyways and making him run routes. Just hand him the fucking football. What's the worst that happens? He doesn't score? Look, we didn't anyways. You could have given him a shot. What are you looking for?
I just counted. CJ Ham played 12 snaps on offense, not including the final kneel down.
Yeah.
You know how I was just gassing up Alex Anzalone and how he was penetrating the line and getting in the backfield? Do you know how you stop a linebacker that's being especially pesky? Listen, again, this has always been one of my big things with the Vikings, and I don't know if I've specifically said this to you.
But CJ Ham is the most underutilized fullback in football, and it disgusts me. They view him as a third down back.
One of the fourth most utilized fullbacks in the league. It's just he needs more.
They view him as a third down back more than anything.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. He's capable of that. He's capable of coming in as a sole pass protector.
Yep.
He's more than that.
Yep.
There is no reason why the Vikings shouldn't be using I formation more. There's no reason why they shouldn't be lining up with CJ Ham as fucking tight end, as a receiver like the Niners do with Juszczyk. He's capable of all of that, but we never see it.
Basically, just give him all of Johnny Munt's snaps, man.
Right.
I love Johnny Munt, but like, Ham God.
Best tight end 3 in football is not better than CJ Ham. He should not be getting on the field more. It bothers me to know that. And I'm just realizing, I know for a fact I've talked to you about this, because you and I have gone back and forth about who's the best behind Juszczyk for years.
Yeah.
And the thing I always say is CJ Ham could be, but he doesn't get on the field enough for me to justify saying he's better than Ricard, he's better than Ingold, because his impact is minimized due to the gross negligence of the coaching not using him the way he should.
It's because of Kevin O'Connell's weird, and I still think he's one of the 5 best offensive play callers in football and one of the 5 best coaches in the league. No, it's not, because McVay runs the ball. Kevin O'Connell is weird.
Oh, you just mean in general with running the ball. Okay.
Yes. Like, I get, because he would use CJ Ham more, except we don't run the ball. And so the only snaps he gets are pass blocking reps or pass catching reps because we don't run the ball. It drives me insane. Now, I understand. For last year, Alexander Mattison wasn't good. And then currently, I understand it to a degree, because I don't know if outside of Brian O'Neill, I don't think we have a guy on our offensive line who can block for the run. I don't think we have one. I genuinely question if we need to put Ed Ingram back in, not over Reisner. Reisner hasn't been great against the run, but over Brendel, because Brendel's been bad at everything the last couple of weeks. I don't like Ed Ingram, but like, at some point, something's got to give. And Brendel's been awful for a couple weeks. He was awesome to begin the season, but it's almost like when Christian Darrisaw went away, his job got harder, and he's not good at it anymore. Shocker. I know, like, one of the 3 best tackles in the league isn't on the field, and the rest of the offensive line's jobs get harder. It's weird how that works. Miller's looking at PFF stats, I think.
No, I'm watching CJ Ham against the Lions.
Oh, I thought we were...
Okay, so he doesn't get a chance to do anything.
I thought you were looking at Blake Brendel. But like, actual shouts out to the Lions. As much as I think this game, I think the early portion of this game, Minnesota as a team was better, but Sam Darnold was sabotaging. But Detroit, credit to them, for as bad as Goff was early in this game, and Goff was not good. You remember. For as bad as Goff was, Detroit just stuck with it. And eventually, when the Vikings or any team is playing as poorly as they did offensively, eventually the floodgates are going to open, and the Lions took advantage of that, and they deserve all of the credit in the world for that, because it is very easy for a team to, for as much as Detroit's offense struggled early, it would be easy for a team to quit or, not keep their foot on the pedal, but they did. Ben Johnson and Brian Flores is my favorite matchup in the NFL. I love it. It's cinema every time. Yes, it probably in 2 weeks. I'm hoping in 3, but that's asking a lot out of 2 teams I don't trust much.
Yeah. Can I just say real quick?
Please.
I found a play that vindicates everything we've been saying. Just one play. It's a microcosm of everything that the Vikings.
Is it the Cam Akers run? Did
No.
CJ Ham set that? Oh.
No. I haven't gotten to that. I'm in the second quarter.
You should go look at that one. I'm intrigued.
Top of the second quarter.
Yep.
3rd and 10.
Yep.
Sam Darnold hits Justin Jefferson deep for 31 yards. Gets up to the Detroit 5-yard line.
Yep.
This play, the Lions send the fucking house. Do you know who CJ Ham successfully erases from the play 101? Alex Anzalone. That allows Sam Darnold enough time to find Justin Jefferson, who has created about 6 yards of separation from Amik Robertson, and picks up a massive first down to get the Vikings inside the red zone.
Can I also say...
Do that more, and maybe you win.
For Anzalone, well, we did a lot of that. Sam Darnold just most of the time missed Justin Jefferson.
Maybe hit your shots, and then it works.
Honestly, that is the biggest thing. That was the key in this game. The Vikings missing their shots. Because genuinely, they were there often, but we just were not hitting them. And like, I think the Lions are the best team in the NFC right now. 100%. As much as I want to hate on them, we have to be real with this. But I also think this game was a lot closer than people are giving it credit for. And to pretend that in 2 weeks when we meet again, that it's just the Lions are going to walk all over them. Now, if Sam Darnold plays like he did, obviously, because if Sam Darnold plays like that, the Vikings aren't beating the Bears. They probably aren't beating the fucking Titans. Let's be real. But also, if Sam Darnold does what he's done all year, where he has this bad game and then bounces back and is good, if Sam Darnold can be what he's been all year the next time we play the Lions, it is going to come down to who gets the ball last, just like it did the first time we played. The Vikings, I know they're getting the fraud label again, but I really don't think so. Sam Darnold might deserve that label, but I don't think the team does. If that makes sense.
I love this play right here.
Is it the big Cam Akers run finally?
No.
God damn it. Watch the play.
By Aaron Jones. I'm going through every snap. Aaron Jones is an 8-yard pitch, but they send... So Alex Anzalone lines up on the left side of the line. They run to the right.
Yeah.
They send C.J. Ham specifically as a heat-seeking missile to go pop Anzalone, and it keeps him out of the play. He's on the backside. You hit him on the backside. Anzalone eventually makes his way over, but it's way after Aaron Jones has picked up a first down, so it's not huge in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
I love that. Do that more. Send him directly at Anzalone.
Also, the Anzalone thing. I want to say Fred Warner, Alex Anzalone, and Blake Cashman, and I'm sure there's a couple other middle linebackers or inside linebackers that I'm just not thinking about at the moment. But those three in particular are really showing how valuable inside linebackers still are. Like, actually. Yeah. Like, all of those defenses are entirely different without them. The Vikings defense is one of the 3 best in the league, unless Blake Cashman doesn't play, and then they're mediocre. Same with the Lions. They're great. I genuinely think Alex Anzalone, I'm not saying he's like actually more impactful, but he is very important to that defense. I think the losses of him and like Hutch are similar to the degree at which they impact the team.
Yeah.
Anzalone is so important to them. Blake Cashman's so important in Minnesota. Weirdly, Roquan is the only top linebacker who I don't think is that important to his team. I don't understand that, but the Ravens are weird. The Ravens defense just operates differently because the Ravens, their key piece is Kyle Hamilton. That's their, win or lose guy. You got other things to say, or are we moving on from this game?
We can go ahead and move on. I'm just, I stumbled across a tweet that I didn't want to see.
Oh, say it. And then I have one other thing to say. But
I was looking specifically because Brett Coleman tweeted out numbers about the Vikings with and without Cashman, and I was trying to find them. And unfortunately, in looking that up, I found Brett Coleman quote tweeting the Cole Kmet extension getting announced, and all of the comments were very mean to Kmet. A bunch of non-ball knowers.
Was it a tweet or was it on Blue Sky?
I'm pretty sure it was on Twitter.
I'm going to double check Blue Sky. I'm going to check Blue Sky real quick. Because maybe it's different. Okay. Well, I'm not finding it, but I think I know the tweet you're referencing. I think.
He also thinks that Blake Cashman should be an all-pro.
The first tweet that I saw of him saying that was from January of 24. He thought it last year. So, and if he thought it last year, I'm sure he thinks it this year because Cashman's been Cashman's nuts, dude. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. That's all I got for the Vikings. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I'm not going to be able to find this. No, I've got nothing else.
Yep. Okay. So head coaching stuff. A lot of interviews have happened. Most interesting to me, or at least the thing I find most funny.
We skipped over the Panthers-Falcons
Oh,
game,
fuck. We were going to go back to that. My bad.
That.
No, I just wanted to talk about it because Bryce Young's so good, dude.
Bryce rocks. My big hot take is that he's better than Stroud.
I don't think I can give him that, but that's because I didn't give him that coming out, and
I did.
I know. That's why I just think you get to be vindicated by this, and I have to look at it as like, well, Stroud was great last year, so like, I need another run with both of them to see, because maybe you're absolutely right, he could be, because I also didn't hate Bryce Young, I just loved C.J. Stroud as the key. Bryce Young's sick, dude. The touchdown where he did the fucking Nick Young thing where he turned and called it before it got caught.
Yeah.
As awesome as that was, part of me also really wishes Tremble dropped it because it would have been funny. That would have lived on forever.
No, here we go. Vikings, this was as of December 23rd. Vikings defensive rankings when Cashman plays versus when he doesn't. With Cashman, the Vikings are first in EPA per play allowed, meaning that they allow the lowest EPA per play in the league. Third in success rate allowed, first in conversion rate allowed. Without Blake Cashman, they're 27th in EPA per play, 14th in success rate, and 30th in conversion rate.
Yeah.
Blake Cashman all-pro.
Dude, I would give anything for Blake Cashman and Ivan Pace to be Vikings until the day they retire.
I thought you were going to say until the day they die.
Well, I think they will get bad before then.
I hope so, respectfully.
Yeah. But like they could be, I'm not saying they're this level, but like they could be the I don't actually want to say it that way because that isn't the style of games, but like the dominant linebacker duo, not similar style wise, but they can be the Urlacher Briggs type linebacker duo. And I want that. Because our run game, like our run defense, genuinely got really bad without Ivan Pace and got really good the minute we got him back. They both play their roles really well. And Cashman's better, but we need both of them all the time. I also, what do you think about Penix, though? We got a couple games out of him before the end of the year.
I think Penix needs a complete mechanical overhaul, which concerns me because he is already a bit up there in age. But I think if he can pull it off... And I don't know who
the Falcons have to do it.
Right. I'm saying if they can manage to pull it off, I think there's something there. I think Penix has some juice, but my big concern with him coming out is the same concern I have right now. Which is the mechanics.
Yeah, they didn't get better.
I will say he impressed me more than I figured he would. I will give him that. Like I'm impressed with Penix. I like what I saw. Because going into the draft, I did not think there was a franchise quarterback in Michael Penix. Now I'm thinking, even in spite of the mechanical problems, he was making huge plays. Like at an NFL level against real teams. You look at the throw to Kyle Pitts against Washington to put them ahead. Like there's a quarterback in there. You just need to do like the one thing that gets very scary with quarterbacks, which is reteach him how to throw the football.
Because you can get Josh Allen or you can get Tim Tebow. Those are the options here. And anywhere in between, obviously. But
like if I go back to my draft notes here on Penix. Let's see what I had written down. Because ironically, I had him compared to Tim Tebow.
like specifically I have NFL Tim Tebow, meaning what he was in the league, not Tim Tebow in college. Honestly, I will say the big thing he improved on, and even that it's not like this is like a strength of his now, it's just not like, holy shit, you're fucked anymore, is the pocket presence. I was terrified of his pocket presence coming out. He's been all right.
Yeah.
He's held his own. I think he's been fine. But a lot of my concerns with him still, obviously his age, tearing his right ACL twice. I have written down verbatim, mechanics and footwork are incredibly wonky and become completely unpredictable when the play breaks down. I think that's still a valid criticism.
Yeah.
Stiff hips, big play hunting, which got him in trouble in college, hasn't yet.
Yeah.
Because Drake London is that fucking guy.
Yeah. My comparison for him coming out was Jared Goff. And not like current Jared Goff. Well, it was like, he could be current Jared Goff, but he also could be original LA Jared Goff. Pre-Super Bowl run with McVay, like actually just ass at football, didn't know which direction the sun came up in.
That's really fucking funny. Like, in hindsight, now that we know what this player is, I'm just looking at my other comps. Keaton Slovis, who was my lowest graded quarterback last year, my comp for him was Sam Darnold, derogatory.
That is funny.
Which I mean, I guess
I gave
still Sam Darnold
call.
in a derogatory sense.
Oh, dude, there is still a derogatory version.
Yeah.
Week 18 against the Lions is Sam Darnold derogatory.
Yeah.
Whatever week it was against Jacksonville is Sam Darnold derogatory. But there's also, 14 games of Sam Darnold good guy.
That is so real.
What?
My fucking Brian Thomas, because I got curious, because I know I wasn't like top 5 receiver on BTJ.
Yeah.
I had him at 6. My comp for him was what I thought Christian Watson would be, and that's so real.
I am
BTJ
currently
is
loving
what I thought he would be.
My Jaden Daniels just being RG3 comp is really working out.
Yeah.
I mean, it was fairly obvious, but also I'm still happy with Caleb Williams just being better Kyler Murray because I feel like that's still correct.
I think I had Rodgers, and I still see that a lot.
No, that's fair.
Especially like his movement is very like the best way I can put it is Caleb Williams looks like if you made a quarterback and gave him like the Aaron Rodgers animation package. Like if this was NBA 2K.
Yeah. Now I'm looking at my Brian Thomas.
Just to get back to the game we were talking about. Bryce Young's incredible, unbelievable football player. Michael Penix, I think there's something there. Some work just needs to be done. The Falcons' defense is so sad. There is a lot of talent in that group, and none of it works. And they don't know how to use it.
None of it works. That's tough.
Did you see the passing touchdown to Miles Sanders?
No.
Okay, so you didn't see who was in coverage. Out of everyone on the Atlanta Falcons, who do you think was guarding Miles Sanders?
Matthew Judon.
Man. Yes.
Really? Nice.
Got torched in man. I remember I saw that play and I thought in my head, who's that goofy asshole with the sleeves? And then I remembered, oh, that's Matt Judon's staple.
Yeah.
Felipe Franks got a pass in this game. Also, Jalen Coker fucks. He's so good. I'm so glad he's so good. And Bijan Robinson also fucks.
True. I mean, Bijan's exactly what we thought he was.
Caleb Farley's on an NFL team.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be.
He's the GOAT. No, honestly, I wish I would have been brave enough to do it. Because one of the names I had written down, it's originally was Julio for BTJ.
BTJ?
And then I changed it.
Alike.
They are more similar than you'd think now, like watching them in the NFL. But also, the bigger thing is that the huge man who can shred you running routes, not just at the catch. Like, it's it's like when I originally wrote Julio, I should have just stuck with it because it turned out to be pretty close. No, I had settled on Santonio Holmes, which is an interesting one. Because remember, I just started pulling from not current guys because Joe Milton, because my comp was like what I think they could be. So my comp for Joe Milton is Dante Culpepper.
Do you remember what my Joe Milton comp was?
Something ridiculous and awful.
It was a trebuchet.
Yeah, that's fair. That's accurate.
Throw far, don't move.
Hey, man, he started moving.
Yeah, no, he did. He's a trebuchet with wheels now.
Hey, that's development if I've ever seen it.
I was gonna say they discovered the wheel in New England. Big things are coming.
Honestly, maybe. So coaching stuff. We are going to go over the 2-hour mark. Shocker. Me and Miller know how to yap.
This is nothing new, Carmelo Anthony.
So coaching stuff. We talked about the Raiders. I think the Raiders are stupid. Not for the Telesco thing. For the Pierce thing. Why did you let him go? Right. Let him go out on Black Monday and be like, as far as I know, I'm keeping my job. And then fire him on Tuesday. Why didn't you just fire him on Monday and not make him do that?
Okay.
That was weird.
Can you do me a favor?
Maybe.
Can you go on your Pierce rant and let me step away for a second? My leg is bleeding.
Why are you bleeding?
Out of the back of my leg.
Brother, how?
I hit my leg off my desk.
How did you hit the back of your leg off your desk? What kind of movement did you... How?
Okay. For context, there's like a pole right here. Like literally right here, there's a pole.
Okay.
And my leg was itchy. So I took my leg and I was scratching it against the pole. Modern problems require modern solutions. And then I went to pull my leg away and there was a bolt sticking out. And my leg went onto the bolt and now there's blood.
All right, go clean up your blood. I guess I'm going on a Pierce rant, even though most of the... I'm just gonna talk about who else gone.
Sure, go for it. I don't care. Just let me go clean my leg up.
So, good God. So, obviously, we know Salah's gone with the Jets. I don't love that, but it happened. So, Salah's out. Dennis Allen's out. We knew these. These were early. Flus is out. Gerard Mayo's out. And I feel bad for Mayo, but, like, he absolutely deserved it with the way he was speaking to... like about players and to the team and to the media, more importantly. Doug Peterson being out should have happened a year ago. Balky should be out too. I don't know why it's not, or why he's not. Pierce is out, and I think that's all 6 candidates, unless the Cowboys choose to let McCarthy go, but they're putting themselves at such a disadvantage by not making that decision already that it feels like they have to make that, like they have to keep him. Like that's the feel. That's the feel here. He's back.
I had modern problems require modern solutions, my leg.
Nice. So we've got 6 coaching candidates or coaching vacancies, right? Could be 7 if the Cowboys... Why are the Cowboys waiting? Aren't you at a huge disadvantage by not already interviewing with guys if you're going to move on?
It's Jerry Jones, man.
Yeah,
you expect him to do something rational?
Fair enough. And then the only GMs, so the Titans fired theirs, and that looks like maybe you should have picked Vrabel, not the GM, when there was the disagreement. Shocker, I guess, because I think I said that in the moment.
It's hilarious how incompetent the franchise in Tennessee is.
True.
It makes me happy.
That's fucked up.
You know why.
I know, and that's still fucked up. Let's see. What else is there? The Raiders now. Who else fired their GM? The Bears chose not to. I think if the first 2 rounds of the draft happen and they don't draft an offensive lineman, I think Poles should be executed.
I was going to say, fuck firing him. Take him out back, dude.
Like, I don't know how many chances he deserves to fix this team when he's, in his career drafted 2 offensive linemen and one of them was in the 7th round.
Well, you're exaggerating slightly.
Am I?
Yeah, he's drafted like 5 or 6. Darnell Wright, Braxton Jones, Karan
He drafted
Amagaji.
Jones?
Yes,
I
Brax
thought
was a
Jones was
5th
just
round pick
before
his
him.
first
That's
year.
my bad.
No, that was his first year. Karan this year. Doug Kramer. Hold on, let me pull up our full draft history. Arlington Hambright, Lachavius Simmons. I'm not saying they were good. I'm just saying he drafted them. Let's
All
see
right,
here. Am I
man.
missing anybody? Yeah.
So
Oh no, I'm sorry. Arlington Hambright and Lachavius Simmons were before. Those were pace. So yeah, in total, Pulse has drafted Karan Amagaji, Darnell Wright, Braxton Jones, Doug Kramer, Jatire Carter, who was good. I don't know why the Bears let him go. He was such a good fucking backup lineman. But yeah, no, he's drafted 4. 5.
So I think the funniest thing to come out of this whole thing so far is Aaron Glenn denying the Patriots an interview. I think that's hilarious. Yeah. He's like, I saw what you just did to the other defensive guy you hired. I'm good. I'll go somewhere else.
Yeah.
I don't know if Aaron Glenn's a head coach, but like,
I also don't like making things like a race issue, but I feel like hiring a black guy after having Belichick for 20 years and then firing him after a year
it does look bad. And that's probably why Glenn's like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah. Plus, I feel like he knows, too, the Patriots have their eyes set on someone specific, and he would have been wasting his time just for the sake of the Rooney Rule.
Yeah.
Which sucks that teams are allowed to do that. You know, waste a coordinator's time.
True.
Just to be like, we interviewed a minority. Let me hire the white guy.
But it's also one of those things where it's like, I think they have to interview multiple. What if the Patriots were just like dead set on Flores? Why do they have to bring in multiple guys? I don't think they should have to bring in multiple guys in general. Like, if you know the guy you're going after, and you know, especially when it comes to Vrabel, you know that guy wants to be there. Like, you're wasting so many people's time. Like,
I agree.
Now, when you're having a true open vacancy, I understand. I understand the flip side, too, of like some of these. I don't know if Flores gets an interview the last couple of years, if not for the rule.
Because people are just going to lie and say, we had our eyes set on one of these two guys.
Yeah.
They're both white, but that has nothing to do with it.
No, yeah, I totally understand.
Like one of those.
I also stand by, I want Flores to be the defensive coordinator in Minnesota forever, because so teams can keep being awful so he can stay in Minnesota.
I've got the full list of people that got fired if we want to run through.
So I ran through the list of firing. I might have missed a GM. So go through the GM.
Okay. So Raiders with Telesco, we already mentioned. Rancartham, we already mentioned with the Titans.
Was that it?
Joe Douglas with the Jets.
Oh, I forgot Joe Douglas. And then what?
That's it.
Oh, okay.
That's the only other GM. And then you've got the coordinators too. I don't know did you mention them?
No, but I don't know if that matters a little less. Not them getting fired. I understand that's, but like, we're not going to know most of the people who are getting coordinator jobs.
Right. The Niners lost their DC. Just to run through them, the Niners lost their DC. Indy fired Gus Bradley, which fair.
I don't know if it is fair. They're just trying to scapegoat a guy because their defense was good.
Okay. Counterpoint. They let up the Drew Lock game.
Oh, that was Indy. Yeah, no, you got to fire him.
Yeah.
I forgot that was Indy. That's my bad.
Browns fired Ken Dorsey and their offensive line coach. Obviously, the Bears fired Waldron mid-season.
Yep.
And that's everybody. Oh, Lou Anarumo with the Bengals also got fired, which fair. Worst defense in football. I
don't think that's fair entirely. I get worst defense in football. You gave him 2 NFL defenders and asked him to make a defense. It's almost like when you let 5 All-Pros walk, your defense is going to get to shit.
Or I think Lou will get a DC job somewhere else.
He should, yeah.
I don't have to be a positional coach. Lou's a good DC. When I said fair, I should have said I get it.
Yeah, it's like I get it, but I don't think it's fair. I think it's a scapegoat, and I honestly still think Zach should have been fired. I don't understand how he keeps getting away with it.
Late season surge. He rebounded. He can handle adversity.
All right, bro.
And also the Bengals were really good that one time.
You know the only person I'm respecting the late season surge for at this exact moment?
Joe Burrow?
No. I'm not even talking about the Bengals. Burrow, it wasn't a late season surge. It was the whole season. The only coordinator whose late season surge matters to me is Cliff Kingsbury. Because he's never figured it out at the end of the like, once teams figure him out, he's never been able to counter. He countered. And we need to acknowledge this.
Did he counter, or is Jaden better?
Yes. Why not both?
People are asking.
Why not both?
Because I hate Cliff Kingsbury.
Well, he is your next head coach. So
no, he is a terrorist. Sorry, I can't say that on this podcast. People get mad
somebody will get upset. Mike Kafka is the Bears' next head coach.
If Mike Kafka's our head coach, I will string you up by your balls.
Pete Carroll is the next Bears head coach.
I would be so okay with that.
Bro hates the idea of Vrabel, loves Pete Carroll. Why?
Yeah, because Pete Carroll has spunk. He has vibes.
I mean, Vrabel's got vibes. They're interesting vibes, but they're I just want the division rivalry of Campbell and Vrabel every fucking year, because Dan Campbell talks a lot of shit, but he's never threatened to cut off his junk to win a Super Bowl.
Right.
Vrabel did. So
I will say, like, since we're on the topic of coaching, if we look at the guys the Bears have interviewed, give me one moment. I'll pull it up. I know someone who has like a tracker.
I'm just looking at these are just the ones they've completed, because they completed with Kafka, Carroll, Weaver.
Yeah.
Petzing, Vrabel. That's it.
Apparently I don't know how true it is, but I saw a report that the Petzing interview went horrible, and I find that really funny.
Where's Petzing from? Oh, it should go horrible.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. The Bears Brian Poles literally said that they're interviewing everyone they can, and they're going to bring in people that no one's going to expect, because they're trying to get as many perspectives as possible. Because here's the thing. When you're interviewing head coaches, not only are you saying, hey, we have this job opening, we'd like to see what you think about it, or we'd like to see if you're eligible for it, that type of thing. It's also, hey, this thing. We struggled with this thing. How would you fix it? And then when you get your coach later on, if it's not that guy, Ryan Poles goes, hey, we talked to so-and-so, and they said our run game was bad and he'd do X, Y, and Z. How do you feel about that?
Yeah.
That way you're not going to the table with, say, hypothetically, they get Ben Johnson. Then it's not Ryan Poles going to Ben Johnson being like, hey, Ben, I don't know how football teams work. Please help.
Yeah.
It's, hey, I didn't know how football teams work, but I talked to Pete Carroll and he told me how they work. How do you feel about how Pete Carroll thinks?
Right.
Like that type of thing.
It's also,
what I mean? Like, you're getting opinions.
And there's a lot of teams that are going to do kind of weird stuff anyways, because, like, Josh McCown, the Vikings quarterback coach, is getting head coach interviews. Now, deservedly so, I think. But, like, that's the one thing I don't like about having such great coaching staff, is people keep trying to steal our coaching staff. I don't like that.
Monkey's paw.
I want to keep McCown.
I want good coach.
I want to keep McCown.
Then you lose them all.
Yeah, apparently yes.
Looking at the guys the Bears are interviewing, Thomas Brown is getting like the pity interview.
Yeah.
Which I feel really bad for him, because apparently he got invited onto Chicago radio recently. And at the end of the conversation, the guy who was talking to him was like, well, Thomas, we know you're not getting the job in Chicago next year, so this will probably be the last time you and I speak.
Damn.
Why would you say that to that man? Why would you do that? What compelled you to say that, man? That's horrible. That's just terrible. Bad human behavior. But he got an interview. Mike Vrabel, he got the first interview already. Ben Johnson, he's going to be interviewing on the 11th. Aaron Glenn is also interviewing on the 11th. Anthony Weaver interviewed today. Drew Petzing interviewed yesterday. Mike Kafka interviewed today. Brian Flores, Arthur Smith are both guys that they've shown interest in. Mike McCarthy, they showed interest in. Todd Monken, David Shaw, who's a former Broncos and Stanford coach, Joe Brady, the offensive coordinator for the Bills, Pete Carroll, Cliff Kingsbury, and then Matt Campbell, who's the head coach at Iowa State. I'll tell you right now,
Did you bring up David Shaw? I might have missed that one.
Yes,
okay,
I did.
Sorry, I did miss that one.
So, my number one is obviously Ben Johnson. After that, give me any of Monken, Carroll, one of those two, or Joe Brady.
I'm upset that they're not even trying to interview Lincoln Riley.
I'm not.
Brother, they called David Shaw.
I mean,
he's not even a coach.
Will.
Like, he's not even a coach.
Well, I mean, he was at one point.
Cool. You know what? It's still not the worst interview that a team is doing. Did you hear who interviewed with the Jets today?
Matthias Negus.
No, that's not even the worst one. He coached for the Jets.
He's getting an interview, right?
With the Jets.
He already had it today.
Yeah.
I knew he was getting one with the Jets.
He hasn't coached since 2016.
But what if they're sitting there thinking, last time we had
maybe they're bringing back the Sanchez too. Fuck it.
Thank God, get him out of the booth. Oh my God, please.
But yeah, Rex Ryan. So far they've interviewed Vrabel, Nagy, Ron Rivera, and Rex Ryan. We know Vrabel's not going there. So a failed Jets coach. I like Ron Rivera. I just think his career as a head coach is done.
I think Riverboat Ron would be a fantastic DC.
Yep. Yeah. So the Jets are also interviewing Darren Rizzi, Steve Spagnuolo, Brian Greasy, the man known for ending multiple Hall of Fame careers, Vance Joseph, Aaron Glenn, Bobby Slowick, Josh McCown, Brian Flores, Jeff Ulbrich, Joe Brady, and Arthur Smith. Dude, when Brian Greasy or Rex Ryan is the next head coach of the New York Jets, I am going to lose it.
It's Arthur Smith, dude.
I hope not, for the sake of everyone ever. Specifically for the sake of Breece Hall. But hey, you should be rooting for it, because Braylon Allen, his stock will be on to rise.
Braylon Allen stock, Kari Blasingame in New York.
He's not going there. Kari's, it's all fun and games until the Niners move on from Juszczyk, because he's a free agent next year.
Chicago?
Ooh.
Juszczyk to Chicago, Kari to San Francisco.
Who's Chicago interviewing that hates fullbacks?
Cliff.
Pete Carroll. I don't know if
Pete
Seattle ever had a fullback.
They had, they always had one with, like, Marshawn.
Yeah, you're right.
They stopped using one like very recently. Even before that, Nick Ballore they had, and
Kellen
then,
Moore. Oh, that's not a Bears interview list. That's the Jaguars list. My bad.
Interviewing with the Bears. Also, Kellen Moore likes fullbacks.
Well, he sure doesn't use one, and never has.
The Cowboys. He left. No,
he left, and then they added Lipke. So
Lipke was there last year.
Kellen Moore wasn't there last year.
Was he not?
Well, Mike McCarthy took over play calling all of last year, so even if Moore was there, Moore never used a fullback.
Oh, yeah, he was with the Chargers last year. I stand corrected. I apologize. I thought he was still there. No, I'm sorry. I was just a year off.
I'm not ha-haing you. I'm ha-haing Kellen Moore.
Yeah, no, I was just a year off on my timeline. Yeah. That's my bad. I forgot he had that weird, holy shit, your volume just went way high on my headphones.
Whoa, really?
I accidentally hit there's like a little adjuster here, and my arm, when I brought it down,
gotcha.
But no, I forgot he had like the weird layover in LA last year.
The Jets have interviewed Louis Riddick, Jim Nagy, John Robinson, Thomas Dimitrov, and Ray Farmer.
Please sign Louis Riddick. Please.
Why?
That would be so funny.
Wait, is Chris Spielman Rick Spielman's like son? Is that a nepotism hire? He currently is an executive for the Lions. They're also interviewing. I think this one's funny because he's already been a GM.
Chris Spielman is Rick Spielman's little brother.
Oh, okay. So kind of nepotism. They are, my favorite one is Vikings senior vice president of player personnel, a title that I don't know what the point of it is. You're the senior vice president, so you have no job. Got it. Former Colts general manager Ryan Grigson is getting an interview for an actual job that actually matters.
For
I think
who?
he's the Jets.
Oh, lol.
The Jets. Hey, Catherine Hickman. I don't know who she is, but she is getting Titans GM interview. That's dope. Is she getting one with the other guy? Nope. The Jets are not.
I wish she was getting one with a better team.
True. And the Raiders haven't announced a single interview, according to CBS Sports. Honestly,
I got the call this morning.
I wish Brady would. I honestly wish an NFL team would just randomly take a flyer on just like they did it with Mayock, who was just a TV guy. Just take a flyer on a random podcast host and see what happens.
Okay, but it's all fun and games until there's 3 GMs in Las Vegas, and it's Theo Ash, Matthew Sponhour, and Bladen Kurt.
Yeah, and then the team cooks. Imagine.
They just keep Ritter. They'd keep Ritter.
That fight, I would love to watch the podcast episode where they're fighting over it. Dude, we would get Hard Knocks all the time because they just make it themselves. Dude, I think the Raiders should give me, you, and Jake the GM job.
Jakob Johnson, get ready to relearn Las Vegas.
Why?
Because
we can get a younger fullback.
But I like Jakob. I want him to have a job.
Yeah, but Kari's going to be a free agent.
Kari can get a job on his own. Jakob's struggling, man.
Well, that's because Jakob, as good as he is at his, blocking ability, he can't do any other of a fullback's jobs.
He went to the Giants and they made him a tight end, man. He needs someone to throw him a bone. That's tough. They made him wear 89.
That is tough.
They made him wear 89, Geek.
Why are there no female head coaching candidates? I know there's a couple teams with female assistants.
Yeah. No, they rock. The Bears, I know our regime just sucked, but I want to say she was the assistant running backs coach. Because I remember her from Hard Knocks. They showed her a lot because she worked with a UDFA running back we had named Ian Wheeler.
I'm trying to see. The Browns apparently have one.
God, Bears Hard Knocks feels like a fucking lifetime ago.
Bro is happy. It's tough. I don't know. Okay, let's do a quick run through who you think goes where. We both agree Vrabel's a Pat.
Yeah.
The Jets, it's going to be one of the dumb ones because it's the Jets.
Nagy.
I can see it. I am going to be funny and just say it. Rex Ryan interviewed really well and gets that job back. Woody Johnson is incompetent. I could see it.
Yeah.
I've already forgot. The Raiders. Who do you think actually goes there?
Who were they interviewing?
So the Raiders, hold on. I just dropped the interview list, but I can find it in 2 seconds. The Raiders currently only have 3 interviews. Ben Johnson, Robert Saleh, Todd Monken.
Out of those 3, I would say Monken.
I think Monken's the least likely.
I think Monken's going to get a head coaching job.
I don't. For some reason,
Why?
I don't. I don't know. Every year there's a guy who we're all sure is going to get one that doesn't, and my gut feeling is that it's Monken.
I haven't seen a lot of people talking about Monken.
Right. Well, anybody that does, I hear them say he's going to be a head coach. I just think he's the guy who's not going to be.
Well, my big thing is you look at the way the Ravens talk about him and my big thing when I'm thinking about a coordinator getting a job is I want to see how a fan base talks about them, because every fan base hates their coordinator. If they say, I don't want to lose this coordinator, that means they are the second coming.
True.
Like, that's what it takes, right? Like, I got burnt. I should have listened to Seahawks fans when they all told me that Waldron was terrible, and I said, no, the efficiency stat, I was wrong.
Because, like, the Vikings, no Vikings fan wants to lose Flores, but I don't know. Like, it's weird because we've seen him be a head coach before.
But that's a different situation, right? Monken, we've never seen coach an NFL team. Yeah. We saw him coach a college team, and it was Georgia, and they won a natty. True. And then he came to the NFL and transformed the Ravens offense, and all of a sudden Lamar's looking like back-to-back MVP in it.
True.
So I think he's very likely to get serious looks. I could definitely see him with the Raiders.
Yeah, no, I think he's going to get serious looks. I'm going to stand here and say I think the Raiders are the team that ends up with Ben Johnson.
I don't see it in a million years.
It's all the GM thing, and I think that matters. I think his wish list matters. And I think the Raiders made that move specifically for him. And his other thing was ownership, and it's not going to be Mark Davis that's talking to him. It's going to be Brady.
He's going to walk in there, he's going to talk to Brady, and he's going to be like, oh, I'm not going to have nearly as much control as I want. And then he's going to leave, and then he's going to go to Chicago, and they're going to be like, Ben, he's going to go,
I don't get to pick the GM, and I'm not going to get nearly as much control as I would have even in Vegas, because Chicago doesn't give control to the guys who deserve it. Are they bringing in somebody else to hire their coach because they don't trust Poles again? Probably. Because everything the Bears do is stupid.
Poles and the team president, Kevin Warren.
Kevin Warren doesn't deserve to be there.
What do you know about Kevin Warren?
Nothing.
Exactly.
It should be the GM's job, and the Bears will never let it be. If you want Kevin Warren to run the football team, make him the GM.
He gets a say in it. He's not picking the guy.
He's probably picking
there
the
for
guy.
the interviews.
For the Bears, I genuinely don't know what they do. I don't trust the Bears at all.
Johnson.
I don't think so. I think that's just you being a homer.
No, it's not.
So the only criteria they meet is the young quarterback, which is important. But
and they have the most attractive young quarterback, both in terms of play.
They had that last year too.
Cute. No, we didn't.
You had Caleb literally last year.
Nope, we had Justin Fields last year. Caleb wasn't on the roster yet.
You might be the dumbest person I've ever talked to.
He wasn't on the roster.
Hey, who had the number one overall pick?
Also, the Bears didn't have a coach opening last year.
They should have.
They should have, but they didn't.
But you're right.
That's a moot point.
That's fair.
And even then, like, it's been reported by both Bears beat writers and by, like, Schefter and Rappaport that Ben Johnson wanted the Bears job last year. And then when that didn't become available, that's when he sat down and was like, you know what? I think we can run it back one more time and I can win a ring. And now he's trying to do that. He's made it clear he's leaving. Hopefully. I guess there's still a bizarro world where he sticks around. But hopefully
it's the bizarro world where, I don't know. I'm not trying to be a dick about it. I do think Kingsbury has a real shot at the Bears job. No, Miller,
hang up, but
I'm not trying to be a dick about it. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. Hey, man, at least I didn't say Anthony Weaver is your next head
Better
coach.
than Cliff Kingsbury.
You're the dumbest.
Nope, I'm sorry. I don't want a guy that has had one good season as a coach ever, and he wasn't a head coach when he did it. I'm sorry, I don't. Well, I don't trust. I trust Cliff Kingsbury as far as I can throw him.
Who's had one good season ever, and he wasn't a head coach when he did it. Hey, how many good seasons has Ben Johnson had as a head coach?
We've never seen Ben Johnson be a head coach.
Right, but you're saying, like, it's bad that Cliff Kingsbury's good years weren't as a head coach, but it's okay for other guys.
When we've seen him be a head coach and he was fucking terrible at it, yeah.
Hey, man, that's not...
Sorry, I figured you used context clues. I didn't realize I had to spell it out for you like a 4-year-old.
Big semantics, brother.
I know.
Also, to be fair, those Cardinals rosters were atrocious.
Don't care.
Okay.
I hate Cliff Kingsbury.
Yeah, well, you know what? Get ready to learn David Shaw, buddy.
Better than Cliff Kingsbury.
That's insane. No, you know what? Get ready to learn Arthur Smith. Gerald Everett will be tight end 1.
Nope, Gerald Everett won't be on the team and we'll have a fullback.
You'll be hiring some other shitty tight end to take Cole Kmet's job.
Nope, he'd love Cole Kmet.
No.
Look at what he did with Muth this year. Cole Kmet is the same, like, type of tight end as Muth, just better.
I don't know, man. I don't trust Arthur Smith to use good players.
Look at what Arthur Smith
You're going to draft Genty and still only give the ball to DeAndre Swift.
Hey, look what Arthur Smith did this year with George Pickens. Roma
made him exactly the same as he was the year before.
Yeah, he learned how to utilize a deep threat.
No. I'm not giving Arthur Smith credit for, because what did that offense look like before Russell Wilson? No deep balls. What happened to the minute the moon ball man took over?
Caleb's got a good moon ball, or at least did in college. We don't talk about his moon ball his rookie year. That didn't happen. Wasn't canon.
Jaguar. All right, let's move on because we're going to argue about the Bears for a year. Jaguars.
Who are the candidates?
Aaron Glenn, Ben Johnson, Liam Cohen, Kellen Moore, Todd Monken, Patrick Graham, Robert Saleh, Joe Brady, Steve Spagnuolo, Brian Flores.
Joe Brady.
I could see Brady, or I could see Liam Cohen.
I didn't even hear Liam Cohen.
Yeah, Liam Cohen
I think either or.
Yep.
I think just one of the offensive guys. You know, they want to try to do something with Trevor.
Ooh, what are they going to do? The Saints are going Kafka, Glenn, Brady, Moore, Shaw for some reason. Darren Rizzi, Anthony Weaver, Cliff Kingsbury.
I'm saying Aaron Glenn for this one.
I don't think they go defensive guy again.
I hope they don't, but
no, I think it's going to be worse, and they go Kellen Moore, who can't run a competent offense.
Well, you know.
I know the Eagles. Look at the Eagles, man.
No,
give me Saquon and AJ Brown. I will do just as well. If you were that bad with them, you should be executed publicly.
Give me those two and Ask Madden.
Right.
And we are cooking.
Give me those two and then just, I don't know, the best offensive line in football and make me and wonder why my offense is good. I understand the offense wasn't that good last year, and the guy who had that job got executed for being a criminal.
It's almost like adding a 2,000-yard rusher, Gumber.
That also helps. I think, yeah, the Jags are either going to go the incompetent route and go Kellen Moore or Kingsbury. Saints. Incompetent and Moore or Kingsbury, because then it's defensive guy or offensive guy. Fuck me. Brain not braining. Or they do end up with Aaron Glenn, which I don't love that either.
Aaron Glenn just feels like a very Saints hire.
True.
And I don't even think Aaron Glenn's going to inherently be a bad coach.
Right.
But, you know, the limitations of a defensive guy.
Jets we already talked about. I guess that's all the teams. Did I miss one? I feel like I did, but I don't know. No.
Bears, Jets, Saints, Patriots, Jaguars, Raiders.
No, we talked about them all. The Cowboys intrigue me because I know they don't have a vacancy, but they don't have a coach under contract.
Did you see what? Sorry, I was talking to Johnny Silverhand.
Ah, gotcha.
He's in my head.
Gotcha.
But no, did you see the tweet about when the coach when the window opens up for McCarthy, what the date is?
The 14th?
Yeah, it's the 14th. Do you know who said they have a big announcement coming on the 14th?
Jerry Jones.
Beyonce.
That would be incredible.
Beyonce country album, Turdellis Cowboys head coach. I mean, that's a hell of a way to get the whole Diddy thing off your back.
Wait, what did Beyonce do?
Well, she's married to Jay-Z.
and Jay-Z's tied up in it. There's like,
Is
listen,
he?
my mom's deep into the conspiracies of it. There's like, I don't know for a fact because I don't look into it as much, but from what I understand from my mother, apparently Beyonce was like groomed at the Diddy parties when she was young and met Jay-Z when she was like 13 and he was like 20 some. So,
Ah.
and then the reason
The
it would
only
get it
thing
off
I
the
really
back
know
is
about any of that is, I mean, every celebrity has been that they've claimed has been there, so I don't know if I care about that. What I do care about is the only one I know that wasn't. And that's Eminem. He's been trying to
Post
tell y'all
Malone.
about Diddy for so long. Well,
He has.
Post hasn't said anything about it.
Well,
Eminem's
yeah,
been
but
telling
I'm
y'all for
saying he was.
decades. Yeah.
We know he wasn't there, but yeah.
Um.
And the thing is too about, I know this is such old news. What a weird thing to be talking about in January. But the big thing is like people have come forward and explained what the process was, and what they do is people would come to the party like throughout the night, and then at a certain point they'd basically tell anyone that wasn't hip with what was going on to get out,
So
and then
just
they
being
clear
there didn't
people out.
exactly make you a bad person, technically.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, whoever you want to
It's the
say,
people stayed for the after party are the
right?
bad
And that's
people.
who we need to find out.
Right.
Like, I get it. Every celebrity ever has probably been to one. Who stayed? That's what matters.
Right. Because, like, anyone was going to a party held by P. Diddy. Before
Yeah.
this, he was, like, the huge record producer through massive parties. He
Yeah.
was the fucking man. Just turns out he was also fucking men and little boys.
Ah, right. But, yeah. So,
The fucking men is okay. I want to make that clear. We would be okay if P. Diddy just liked the company of men.
We're skipping forward. We're done here. Tennessee Titans, they're interviewing Terrence Gray, Bills Director of Player Personnel, Ed Dodds, Colts Assistant GM, Matt Berry, Seahawks Director of Player Personnel, Reggie McKenzie, former Raiders General Manager, Catherine Hickman, Browns Assistant GM and Vice President of Football Operations, and Ian Cunningham, Bears Assistant GM. I don't know if it'll happen. I don't really have a prediction. I just want it to be Catherine Hickman, so I'm going to say it.
Fair. I want it to be her because that would be incredible, obviously, having a woman GM. But also part of me is like, I don't want it to be her because I want her to get a good job.
I mean, the number 1 overall pick, pretty good job.
Or
you can make a name for yourself.
Selfish, right. No, and that's fair. You know, if that's the case, then I hope the Titans succeed.
Yeah.
Selfishly, I want it to be Ian Cunningham because then the Bears get draft picks.
Valid. Hey, does that work for Ryan Grigson? Probably, right?
What is he?
Senior Vice President of...
I have no clue.
I have no clue. But
I just know Bears fans have been talking about Cunningham for 2 years, and now we get a third rounder if someone hires him.
Being incompetent means I think the Jets go Rex Ryan and Ryan Grigson because they think it's 2016.
2 Ryans?
Yeah. Well, no, a Rex and a Ryan.
Well, Rex Ryan. Well, Ryan's is where I was going.
Yeah.
With it.
Then finally, the Raiders. If I'm living in the world where I said I think they get Ben Johnson, then they get whichever GM guy he wanted to bring from the Lions. That's it.
I think they get Todd Monken and you.
Honestly, I think I could cook up a good team for the Raiders. Thoughts?
Didn't you do a rebuild on your
Yeah.
YouTube?
Yeah.
That's why I said you.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I will not be able to draft Adrian Peterson.
They're getting Grayson.
The quarterback, not the running back. He's not real, but I'm ignoring what you've said. I don't want... The Raiders have suffered enough.
Imagine a world...
Send him to Tennessee instead.
Imagine a world where Grayson got an NFL job before we did.
No.
Not saying that either of us are aspiring for NFL jobs, but just like...
I don't want to imagine it. I can kind of imagine one of our friends, though, a different friend having an NFL job before us, because she did.
Oh. Word.
I don't know if you knew where I was going with that, but there are other ones. I mean, it's not that...
Who are you talking about?
Nicole.
Oh, yeah.
Because she did. Okay. She worked for an NFL team.
Okay. I thought you meant like front office.
But also, if we're talking about that, Jackson. I
was
feel
gonna
like
say, that's
is
where my
first.
mind went. I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
J-Pow NFL. Like I said, Bobby Slowick for J-Pow NFL. Who says no?
I do think he could follow the Bobby Slowick path. I can see it. I can.
Real.
I see the well, I don't see the vision, but you know what I mean. All right, we are a good amount of the way into this. Let's make our picks for the wild card. We don't have
Well, hold on
Jake's.
now.
Oh fuck! What's in the quick ball? Is it another quick ball? What about smaller quick ball?
I need to get one now. But
What
no,
about
it's not
second quick ball?
It's just like a Russian nesting quick ball where there's just like quick ball and quick ball and quick ball
That'd
and
be
quick ball
funny.
and quick ball. One of these days I'm gonna pull up and I'm gonna have a quick ball that I have to hold like this, and it's just gonna be a myriad of quick balls.
Something D&D related.
No.
Movie? Like from a movie? TV show?
Not inherently, but part of me wants to say yes because there's a very iconic movie where this is like an important symbol in it, but I'm going to say no.
Important symbol.
Yeah.
Well,
like something major happens with this item
is it a ring?
in that movie. It's not a ring, no. But you're thinking right, it's an inanimate object. And it is clothing related. I'll give you that as well.
It's not a ring. Is it Oh God, what the issue is trying to think of clothing is it like a bobby pin or a push pin or like a
No, you're kind of heading the right direction.
Is it a button? Just a
Yes.
singular button.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking like Coraline.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's a singular button. I don't know how this appeared on my desk, but it did.
One of your flannels is missing a button. Bro's trying to figure out which one.
I have one with black buttons, and I don't think it's missing any. I think we're clear.
All right, let's talk about wildcard playoff games, starting with Chargers at Texans.
Chargers.
Are we just making our picks, or are we going to kind of talk about them? What do you prefer?
I mean, I think
we can make this a 3-hour episode. Jake is not here. He cannot stop us.
The way I look at it, Herbert is Herbert. The Chargers have run the ball really well. Their defense has really stepped up. The Texans couldn't block me, and I think Khalil Mack will get home. I think the Chargers will be able to work out some stuff to be able to get at CJ Stroud, make him uncomfortable, and I don't think Herbert is going to let himself lose in the wild card to an AFC South team again.
Yeah, another 27-point lead choke. No, I'm kidding.
If that happens, we have to kill Jim Harbaugh.
No. We kill anybody who is on the team for the other one.
Well, Brandon Staley's already dead.
Untrue. I think he's currently...
What is he doing?
He's a defensive coordinator for somebody.
He is the assistant head coach for the 49ers. No wonder they fucking failed
there
this
you go.
year.
So I think I agree, Chargers. But I do think the Texans defense is awesome. And
it is.
If Stroud and Nico can hit a couple big plays, it could change things. It's not likely, but there is definitely a world where the Texans can win this game. They're
Absolutely.
not at a super disadvantage quarterback-wise. Obviously, Herbert's better, but it's not, the next game on Saturday, quarterback difference-wise.
You jump to that real quick. I want to check something statistically right quick.
But CJ Stroud is still good, but I think you're right.
No,
Chargers.
I'm not going for Stroud.
No, the big difference quarterback-wise is the second Saturday game, and that is Steelers-Ravens. Ravens by 50. Ravens by 50. Right?
Oh yeah, I'm blind. Thank God. Yeah. I got really scared. I wanted to check where the Chargers were in terms of like pressuring the quarterback, and they're top half of the league in terms of total pressure, quarterback pressure percentage. In terms of time to throw allowed, they are top half of the league as well. But yeah, I think they'll be able to get this Stroud.
Ravens by 1 billion. Actually, probably not, because it's a division game and it's a third meeting and it'll probably be close, but like Ravens. But also it might not be close. I'm just, saying the things that people need me to say. Because if I don't say them, then I don't know ball somehow.
I think Lamar is going into the playoffs with a chip on his shoulder. He's got the Steelers at home, coming off a blowout win. Confidence is at an all-time high. The only thing that concerns me is they might not have Zay Flowers, or they
They
won't
don't have Zay Flowers.
have Zay Flowers. I forgot he officially got
I don't
rolled out
think it
this morning.
matters.
I don't think it matters hugely either, but it is notable.
Yep.
But that being said, I mean, I think if nothing else,
I demand
Ravens
Lamar
run
play
over.
Lamar ball instead of
Yeah,
whatever he did
if
last
Lamar
year.
plays Lamar ball, they actually stick to the fucking run game.
Yeah.
Which was a big problem for them in the playoffs. And their defense keeps playing like they have been since week 10. Then
if Lamar plays Lamar ball, I will go out like throughout the playoffs. They are winning the Super Bowl. I am going to say that confidently.
That's fair.
But we've never seen him try to play Lamar ball in the playoffs. So I can't say that it's like a guarantee to happen. But like, if they just play Lamar ball, I just see the Ravens just marching to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Moving on, Sunday morning, Broncos at Bills.
I think you've got Josh Allen going up against statistically the best defense in football this year, at least in terms of EPA per play. However, as much as I like Bo Nix, relative to the rest of this podcast, relative to you guys, I'm Bo Nix's biggest fan.
That's
when
true.
In reality, I just think Bo Nix is fine, which is so funny to me.
So I am definitely just mostly biased against Bo Nix. And
yes.
I totally can acknowledge when I'm biased. I am just a hater because he's the Broncos quarterback. They could get Lamar tomorrow, and I would start talking shit about Lamar. Like,
then you'd be racist.
No, because I wouldn't call him a running back. So
what would you call him?
I don't know.
Things are starting to crumble.
I would
Lamar
figure something out.
Smells bad, therefore bad quarterback. Remember that time he took a shit in a game? Hasn't wiped
true,
since.
Dude.
Bad
true.
QB. But no, I think
that's why players don't tackle him. It's the smell.
At the end of the day, getting into the playoffs like this, the better quarterback is going to win out more often than not.
Yep.
And I think Josh Allen is going to. I trust Josh Allen to dice up the Broncos defense a lot more than I trust Bo Nix to lead a playoff game winning outing as a rookie.
Yep.
2-3 years from now, maybe we're having a different conversation, but his first time here as opposed to Josh, who's a seasoned vet, he knows the ropes by now. The Broncos are far from the best team he's played during his playoff career. I think he'll manage. Yeah. Sean Payton's obsession with beating guys who already don't have a lot going for them in the hair department aside, I think Sean McDermott will win one for all the bald fellas out there.
Also, Sean Payton's aversion to winning in the playoffs. He does not like it.
Yeah.
He's only done it one time.
He's allergic.
Yeah.
He was like,
it could end goofy.
Let me lock in for the people in New Orleans.
True.
And then he forgot.
Well, no, let me literally cheat. And ever since then, nothing. They always lose in a heartbreaking way, too.
Is Josh Allen gonna have like a game-winning drive and they're gonna win this like 13-6?
Game-winning like 65-yard touchdown run. Patrick Surtain's gonna get hurdled.
Dude. If Pat Surtain gets hurdled, he has to retire. You have to, dude.
Yeah, Nick Bonito's going to get juked out of his shoes, and then Surtain's getting hurdled as Josh runs 65 yards to win the game.
Gonna fucking truck Zach Allen in the process.
Yeah, dude. Zach Allen's going to have him wrapped up behind the line, or not wrapped up, but like, it's going to be like a play-action bootleg, and right as he bootlegs, Zach Allen's going to hit him and just fall down. And Josh is just going to take off running, juke Nick Bonito, hurdle Pat Surtain, and run to the end zone.
And flip off Sean.
No, he's going to throw up the deuces like he's Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Sean Payton will say something about.
See, but that would involve this game being close, and I genuinely don't think it will be.
I lost my button. Also, I was going to say Sean Payton after the game. Sean Payton will say something after the game to the effect, "Bet Josh Allen doesn't have a football in his backpack."
Yeah, something. Packers Eagles. I think the Eagles win this game. For the sake of the Vikings, want the Packers to win this game, but I think the Eagles win this game. I'm not dumb.
For division rivals, it doesn't end well.
I'm not rooting for them. I'm just hoping.
I think you have the Packers going up against the Eagles that are going to be fully healthy. Jalen Hurts is back. Saquon's coming off a 2,000-yard season. He's rested.
Yeah.
They didn't run him into the ground last week. The pass game's been great. The Packers secondary is banged up.
So is the Eagles wide receiver core, though. A.J. Brown hasn't practiced this week. Smitty's been limited. So that's not ideal.
It's not ideal. Let's see here. What's their... Yeah, A.J. Brown didn't practice this week. Grant Calcaterra's back. Dallas Goedert's back, which is huge.
Yeah. No, I don't really think that... It's one of those things.
Isn't there?
Oh no, I thought he was.
Must be fine.
Okay.
No, I'm not seeing him.
The Eagles are just a better football team.
Whereas
the Packers also have beat one team with a winning record.
Yeah, the Packers are going to be without Christian Watson. It looks like.
Oh yeah.
Edrin Cooper has been limited all week. Javon Bullard's been limited all week. Zane Anderson hasn't practiced. Evan Williams has been limited all week. You take a look at all of that. You have the Eagles who have
Jair's not going to play.
What?
Jair's not going to play.
Oh, yeah.
He's not on the injury report because he's on IR. But
yeah,
after being a full participant in practice for 3 weeks. Don't really know how that works. But
maybe bad. Whereas you have Philly, who defensively, second best team in the league in terms of EPA per play. I have said all year that I think Philly's the best team in the NFC. I don't think that's going to change. I'm very, very confident in what they're doing. Obviously, I'll concede that they're number 2 until we see what they look like back fully healthy. I guess there is a world where Jalen Hurts could be a little rusty or something, and they could look a little rough, and Detroit would be number 1. But I firmly believe that the Eagles are the best team in the NFC, assuming everything's going right for them. So outside of like the any given Sunday, anyone can beat anyone. I don't see Green Bay having a chance against Philly.
I don't think they have a real one. I just hope. I don't like Philly.
I like them more than I like Green Bay.
I agree, but then we just get to feed Green Bay to Detroit again. So
I'm also the world's biggest Philly fan for the playoffs. So
see, and I'm not. So let's
go,
difference.
Jedi. I know you're going to comment "Fly Eagles Fly."
True.
Go, Jedi.
Jedi will be listening.
You will.
Commanders Bucks. I think the Bucks win, but I do stand by. I don't love their defense, and Jaden might torch them. Like,
I think
this is the upset that is realistic.
Not only that, I think this is going to be the most entertaining game this weekend. I think this is going to be the closest. I think that's going to be like a legit shootout.
You don't think Rams Vikings is going to be that?
No, because the Rams defense is not great.
That's fair. Again, we'll talk about Rams Vikings in a second. Talk about Commanders.
Commanders Bucks, I think this is the most evenly matched matchup in the playoffs this week. And I think, for lack of better words, I think it's going to come down to who has more aura between Baker and Jaden. Who can pull off the big, like, oh my God, how do you even fucking think to do that play? Whether it's Baker hitting some throw that he has no business ever hitting and will never hit again, or it's Jaden doing some goofy ass improvisational shit where he makes the entire Bucks defense look like the School for Deaf and Blind's finest. It's going to be one of those games, and I think the fact that it's going to be Sunday Night Football is peak fucking cinema. But I am taking the Bucks. I trust. Again,
it's hard for rookies to win.
Before. Yeah. I think the big difference between those two, offensively, the Bucks have a run game. I trust them to run the football. I trust them to keep the ball. The Commanders, this is not a slight at Jaden. He's the best runner on the team.
he does not have a single back I trust. Brian Robinson, breaks my heart to say, he's not good. He has a fumbling problem. Antonio Gibson's not even fucking there anymore. They replaced him
if
with
he was,
Antonio
that would be
Gibson
better
Light and
because he's been
Austin Eckler.
awesome.
Yeah.
In
They
New
replaced
England.
him with Antonio Gibson Light and Austin Eckler, who sucks horribly. And then I don't even know who else have they been giving the ball to. Fucking is Rodriguez getting carries?
I think so. Yeah.
I always forget who else they
I
have.
don't know. It's not.
Point is, it's no one I have a lot of faith in. Jeremy McNichols is their RB3. Don't have a lot of faith in him.
No.
I think I think this could be a shootout, or I think the Bucs could say, we're going to hang on to the football because we know Jaden is going to make us pay if we give him the ball a lot.
Yeah.
And they're going to try to run it. We're going to get like a big Bucky Irving game. But either way, I think the Bucs will come out on top. Although I do think this is the closest game this week by far.
Okay. Rams Vikings, I think this should be really clear. The only concern I have is I have faith because I've seen him bounce back all year, but I also do wonder if it is partially just a lights moment. Deer in the headlights, these lights are too bright. I don't think it is, and I think, again, if Sam Darnold can get back to where he was, I don't think there's a team in the NFL that the Vikings can't compete with. And if Sam Darnold is back to where he was 2 weeks ago, we're going to beat the Rams by 20.
Yeah.
So, because we have Blake Cashman this time, and we are also not coming off of 4 days rest and flying to LA. We actually had a real week of preparation. And I do wish we would wear our gray face mask helmets just in case. The let's wear the throwback helmets just in case.
What concerns me is, in terms of efficiency statistics, the Rams are bottom 5 against the pass, bottom 10 against the run.
Yep.
Not good.
No.
And
playoff Aaron Jones is a bully.
Yeah. And as much as I trust Matt Stafford, I think I trust Brian Flores to keep him in check more than I trust the Rams defense. Assuming Darnold plays like a real quarterback and isn't a pumpkin again, I trust the Vikings defense more than I trust the Rams. Now, if Darnold decides to be the guy that we all know and love, and I am longing for, then Rams win.
I don't want that to happen, obviously. I want good things for my football team. Luckily, I do think last week kind of squashed the we have to bring Darnold back thing. Even if he wins a couple playoff games, you still have
contract.
No. Dog, JJ McCarthy's on his villain arc.
$7 trillion to Sam Darnold.
I will offer him $7 and a bag of Doritos.
What flavor? This is important.
Cool Ranch.
You think Sam Darnold's a Cool Ranch guy?
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
These are the questions people need to be asking after the game. Fuck offensive strategy.
I know you had a bad day, Sam, but what's really important is what kind of Doritos you like.
Yeah. Sam, we'll get into talking about how you attacked the opposition this week and what you saw that made you give Justin Jefferson the ball 17 times. But more importantly, Cool Ranch or nacho cheese?
The first time we get an NFL player on this podcast, that is the first question I am asking.
What if they say they don't eat Doritos? Do we leave?
I might. For the bit, I might.
Okay, I want to say there's one exception to that. When we get Kari.
No, for the bit, I will still be leaving.
Okay, but I'm saying
you're saying a different.
The first question we have to ask is why he doesn't think Batman's a real superhero.
Ooh, because Batman's bad.
He hates Batman.
Well, I mean, Batman's not a superhero. He's a heroic villain. His entire...
You're just getting weird and semantical. I guarantee that's not Kari's reasoning.
Dude, if it is...
If it is, power to him. If we find out Kari Blaskim's like secretly a comic nerd, fuck yeah.
No, so, because to me, the way... I'm trying to work my brain to make Batman not be a superhero. And it's because he's a heroic villain. Like,
if I'm not mistaken,
the entire way he operates is out of fear. Like, making people fear. That's villainy. That's just villainy. He just uses it against other villains. He's a heroic villain. I can see the vision. Kari, I hope that's your argument, because I will yell so loud.
If it is, it'd be fucking hysterical.
He might not use that exact term, but it could be that thought process.
And then we can ask him the Dorito question, and then the third question is, who would win in a fight, Matt Eberflus or Shane Waldron?
I don't know if he'd answer that.
I think he'd say me. And he would be justified for that. Meaning him, like Kari would win. Meaning he'd beat the fuck out of them. And he deserves to. Every player who's ever played for either of those guys deserves to hit them at least once.
Not true. Gerald
Except for
Everett.
Bayless Jones.
Yeah.
Okay. Listen. Every player that played for the Bears over the past year deserves to have...
Gerald Everett.
Okay, Gerald Everett, Matt Eberflus, Bayless Jones, Shane Waldron, and Doug Kramer. They deserve to have them all lined up, and they can pick which one they want to just punch as hard as they can in the mouth. They all deserve
it. All right, this
it.
podcast's off the rails. Miller, do the outro.
Am I wrong?
Do the outro.
Thank you all for watching, unless you're Doug Kramer, in which case, fuck you. If you're not Doug Kramer, we love you. Thank you for watching. Please make sure to leave a like down below. Also, make sure to comment. Let us know who you think is going to fill each head coach vacancy. Or let us know your thoughts on Brock Purdy, because that was the other big thing we talked about. And, all the good stuff. Subscribe for more running in North. Fuck the Vikings. Fuck the Packers. Eagles and Rams by a billion. Goodbye, everyone. Geek, say the thing.
Bye.